Yo, it's your boy Ryan, Northwest Sports Fanatics, back at you with a new video. Wow, what a crazy day. Just when we thought on Wednesday, March 23rd, 2022, maybe it would calm down just a little bit. Every single day, there's something bigger and bigger and bigger. And the breaking news, obviously, happened earlier this morning. Tyreek, the freak Hill, the cheetah, is getting traded to the Miami Dolphins. So this is going to be a therapy session, not only for the Chiefs fans, but also to put, some people in check too. Because as I look at the comments, right, like right here, hybrid, right? The very first comment, some people on suicide watch. That's the immature talk right there, kicking in from all of the other fan bases trying to poke, at all the Green Bay Packer fans when they lost Davante Adams, trying to poke at the Chiefs, kingdom when they lose Tyreek. There's going to come a time when, if you're a Ravens fan hybrid, right, Lamar Jackson isn't coming back, or maybe Mark Andrews decides to leave, and then, then you're going to know how it really feels like to lose one of your guys. So that's why you got to be a little bit more mature about this. As fans, we're about the name, right, on the front of the jersey, or the logo on the front of the jersey. The players, it's about the name on the back. All right. So no matter how much you love Davante Adams, no matter how much you love Tyreek the Freak Hill, at the end of the day, it's going to come down to money, depending on if it ends up being wanting to be the highest paid wide receiver in the league, or maybe in Davante Adams' case, playing with his college teammate, Derek Carr at Fresno State. Him being a Raider fan, as a little kid with his family. But see, this is the type of shit that I'm talking about. You get a lot of these immature fans, that like to poke and prod and to be able to kind of make fun when someone loses a big guy like that. And I'm going to give you reasoning why I think that the Super Bowl run is over, or if the Chiefs can still stay afloat. Luckily, this wide receiver class is pretty deep. And if you get a guy like Chris Olave, it's not going to be Tyreek the Freak Hill. All right, we already know this. All the other teams started getting better with the Denver Broncos, the Chargers, the Raiders. Everyone is getting better, including, obviously, the Cincinnati Bengals with that offensive line, okay? But the Miami Dolphins are doing a lot of work, but still, with all that being said, Tua is not Patrick Mahomes. So when it comes down to it, the same type of throws that you were getting from Patrick Mahomes, the Chiefs are going to miss the speed, but I think, Tyreek the Freak Hill, he's going to miss the arm of Patrick Mahomes, but it is done. The Chiefs are trading the 6-time Pro Bowl wide receiver, Tyreek Hill, to the Dolphins, and the return is a first-round pick and a little bit more. But this is the type of shit that I'm talking about, man. You know what I mean? That's why I'm not biased. All right, that's why I call it right down the middle. And obviously, this is not something that, the Chiefs fans want to wake up to. All right, the Chiefs fans don't want to necessarily wake up to this kind of fucking news. All right, because you already are thinking, all right, we already lost Honey Badger more than likely. This isn't really ideal for the organization. But think about this on the flip side. Instead of thinking it's all negative, you did get 5 picks out of it. Veach and the Chiefs organization with Andy Reid is one of the most well-run organizations in the NFL. So once, Tyreek leaves, I'm not saying the Dolphins are not a organized NFL team, but when you go to the Chiefs, this is like almost the top of the mountain, and anything beyond the Chiefs and a few other teams, it's not going to be the same. But obviously for Tyreek, it was about the name on the back of the jersey, not the name on the front. So with all that talk after they won the first Super Bowl, and they were comparing themselves to Jordan and Pippen, we're going to win 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Well, you're not going to win them with Tyreek the Freak Hill there. But remember this. When Davante Adams and Tyreek the Freak Hill first came in, did you know who they were? Honestly, did you really know? It took time for these guys to develop. They weren't superstars year one. It took a little bit of time for Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams to click. It took a little time for Tyreek to go from a special teams player that was getting called out by Jalen Ramsey, saying that you're just a punt returner, kick returner bitch. Remember that? And then he developed himself into a wide receiver. Then he went from a wide receiver 3, wide receiver 2, wide receiver 1, and a guy that has not only the hands and the route running, but the speed. Speed kills, and he is the fastest guy in the NFL. So the Chiefs are trading 6-time Pro Bowl wide receiver Tyreek Hill to the Miami Dolphins for 5. Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 draft picks. All right. 2022 first round pick, number 29, a second round pick, number 50, a fourth round pick, as well as a fourth and a sixth in the 2023 draft. Now, bottom line, you can give him 5 picks, you can give him 7 picks, you can give him 8 picks. It's not Tyreek Hill. All right. But there's other guys out there that Mahomes can develop into someone that might be a shadow of Tyreek Hill. Maybe you're never going to get a speed guy like that, but you can get a guy that can put up similar amount of touchdowns or slightly less. So, for example, if you get a guy like Chris Olave to pair up with Patrick Mahomes, he's not going to score, 15, 16 touchdowns in a season, but he could probably give you 10 to 12. And then you can go to maybe Travis Kelce or Juju Smith-Schuster or McCole Hardman. So you got to be able to kind of think of the positives and the negatives. Chiefs know how to draft. And obviously this is going to hurt for a lot of people. This is going to hurt for a lot of fans. We got a lot of Chiefs Kingdom members in here not wanting necessarily to see this and thinking that, maybe you thought, this guy would be more about, the jersey and the colors on the team on the front. But at the end of the day, Davante Adams wanted to come home. It's about money. Tyreek Hill, it's about money. So no matter who you have as your favorite quarterback, wide receiver, running back, unless it's someone like Tom Brady, chances are they're not going to take less money to try to bring people back like you did for Leonard Fournette, Lombardi Lenny. And that's why Tom was so successful over all those years. He was able to take less money, bring more pieces back to help them try to win a AFC or NFC championship game, let alone a Super Bowl. Pretty wild, pretty crazy. So I'm going to go over this therapy session with a lot of the people here, but I want to educate you, a lot of the other younger fans that maybe don't know any better like this, like Hybrid. All right, you're laughing and you're making fun, and I saw a lot of people doing this shit to the Packer fans with Davante Adams, and I saw a lot of fucking people on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook do it towards the Chiefs fans. You'll see. Because when you have your favorite players, right, come down to that point, there's going to be a day where you think Lamar Jackson's going to be their Hybrid as a Ravens flock member for your whole life. And then one day he might say, fuck you, bye, and he leaves. And then what are you going to do? You're going to bitch and you're going to moan, you're going to cry, all right? Or maybe Mark Andrews dips or someone else. So you always want to make sure that, you don't have to be that guy. You don't have to be that guy that's like that. And that's big facts. Hold on right here one sec. Let me see if I can clean this up. There we go. Camera had a little issue there, but I think we're good to go now. But yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's just one of those things that, it's kind of unnecessary. You know what I mean? Just poking. It's like, of course, we all want to be able to win, the Super Bowl. We all want to be relevant. I get it. We all want to be able to be the team, the man. But, you don't need to go that far. You don't need to go that far. Alex in the building. What to do? Elliot Evans in the building. What to do? Armstead will be missed. Yes, he will be. That's big facts. NWSF, baby, in the building. Broly 978 in the building. He said, yo, crazy. What did I wake up to, man? Well, obviously, I mean, if you were up earlier today, you would have seen it. Let me take a quick look here on my page just to see how everything is looking. I got to fix the camera here in a second. So just give me 1 sec here and I'll go through all the comments. But like I said, you got to be a little bit more respectful. Of course, if you're one of the rival teams, you're like, good, I'm glad that he's no longer there. But just remember, the day that you start to make fun of the Green Bay Packers or the Kansas City Chiefs for losing their guys, there is going to come to be a point where maybe you lose your guy in a year or 2 or 3. And then you're going to understand what it feels like because you don't think it's ever going to happen to you. Because I guarantee with the Packers, they probably didn't think it was going to happen to them in this particular way. Or you probably didn't think, you're like, all right, we got Honey Badger maybe going. All right, but you never thought Tyreek, not in anyone's fucking wildest dreams. And then here we are today. Tyreek the Freak Hill is gone. And like I said, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Is the Chiefs Super Bowl run over? It could be. Because Tyreek is that dynamic of a wide receiver. For the Green Bay Packers, is their Super Bowl run over? It could be. Maybe they never even had one. They never even really got to a Super Bowl with, Aaron Rodgers and Aaron Jones and Davante Adams. But without Davante, do they really have a shot? I mean, realistically, you lost Darius Smith and you lost some of those guys. We got the Rams, we got the Bucks. We think the Niners will be pretty good. Packers, and the Chiefs. Think about this. I mean, if you get Tyler get to the door and lock it, or DK Metcalf, all right, maybe that softens the blow a little bit. Because if you get DK Metcalf, you pair him up with Mahomes, That looks pretty good. If you end up having DK Metcalf pairing up with Aaron Rodgers, that looks pretty good. You're not really worrying about Davante Adams or Tyreek Hill as much. You're not really getting that much of a drop off. There's a drop off, and you're never going to, copy the speed, because we know speed kills. You're not copying the speed with Tyreek the Freak Hill. It's just not happening. All right. You know what I mean? But he's going to a situation with a guy where they're going to have to do bubble screens, sweeps. He can't really throw the football like Mahomes with Tua. And I don't even know if Tua is really the guy long term. So yes, Miami has improved, and they can maybe get second place behind Buffalo in the AFC East. But are they a Super Bowl contender? No, they're not. All right. But there's also guys in the draft that you can look at, like a Chris Olave. You could be looking at a guy like that, and that could help soften the blow, because I think he is NFL ready. You could plug him into the Chiefs right away, and he could get you a lot of touchdowns, a lot of yards. And obviously the Tyreek thing hurts with the speed and the dynamic ability and those plays that only Tyreek can do. We get it. But you still got Juju. So you picked him up for a year. That helps soften the blow. McCole Hardman is still there. Travis Kelce's there. So it's bad, all right? But I don't think necessarily the Super Bowl is over for the Chiefs. But one thing, depending on who you get or don't get, you may not win the division this year. Right now, it's kind of leaning more maybe towards the Broncos if they can put their shit together with Aaron Rodgers. No. Russell Wilson, even though maybe they wanted Aaron initially, right? But maybe Denver wins the division now, but I could still see the Raiders getting better. Chargers getting better, but I don't see the Chiefs going down from number 1 any lower than number 2. They could still get to the dance, but it's going to be very crucial to see who they get. DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Chris Olave. You need to be able to get a big name to replace this Tyreek Hill, because bottom line, besides Cooper Kupp, these are the top 2 wide receivers in the league for the last 3 to 4 years. Tyreek was normally considered number 2, and Davante Adams was normally considered number 1. But this season, it was Cooper Kupp as the number 1 guy. Fucking crazy, right? But you did get 5 draft picks. Chiefs do draft well. Look at Creed Humphrey. Look at Nick Bolton. You're getting guys that no one really knew who they were, and no one really knew who Davante Adams and obviously Tyreek Hill were in the beginning. So you can develop guys too as well. But obviously when they develop to be the top 2 guys, it's tough to replace. So I think Green Bay's run, I don't know if they ever really even had a run, but I don't know if they're going to be able to be considered the same level as like the Rams or the Bucks. Even though my run will only be for 1 more year, more than likely, and then I'm done. And then it'll probably be the Rams, the Niners, and the Packers. But maybe the Vikings leapfrog, the Packers this season. With Kevin O'Connell there, don't be surprised if the Vikings play good football, beef up the O-line in the next couple of years in the defense. Maybe the Vikings end up winning the NFC North, and maybe the Packers take a step back if they can't get that wide receiver to get close to Davante Adams' numbers. Because if you don't get close to that kind of number, there's going to be a drop-off. Same thing goes with the Chiefs. If you can't get someone that's going to give you close to double-digit touchdowns, 9, 10, 11, 12 as your wide receiver 1, which is not Juju, which is not McCole Hardman, you're going to have to be able to do that. But I don't think the Chiefs' run is over. Packers kind of seems over to me, but if they get DK Metcalf, then they're right back in the conversation. So we can't say it's over for the Packers. We can't say it's over for the Chiefs, but it's not a good look. But like I said, be a little bit more respectful towards the fan base, because like I said, you never know when you're going to have that situation where that guy that you hate, that guy sucks. Carson Wentz fans for the Eagles, right? Oh, I love Carson, right? And then Washington and the Cowboys and the Giants were like, fuck Carson, he's horrible. 6 to 8 years later, Washington Commandos starting quarterback Carson Wentz. So you never know when that might flip all the way around for a guy that you think sucks so bad, and then you got to go and buy his jersey or support him as your starting quarterback. So we'll see what happens with Tyreek in Miami. We'll see what happens with the Raiders and Davante Adams. But they're not going to have as much success as they did with Green Bay, with Aaron Rodgers, as well as Patrick Mahomes. So essentially, they walked away from the 2 best quarterbacks in the league, not named Russell Wilson, and then after that, Josh Allen, Burrow, and Herbert. Pretty crazy, man. Elliott Evans in the building. This is all a dream, man. It's crazy, isn't it? It's crazy. Dolphins got Armstead and Hill. They're doing some big things. Zombie in the building. What to do? Alex, I wish OBJ went to Arizona Cardinals. OBJ is another name that to be keep a little eye, and maybe he goes to the Rams, maybe he goes to Cleveland with Deshaun Watson, maybe go to the Chiefs for a 1-year deal. Maybe the Chiefs on a 1-year deal would be pretty good for him. We have to wait and see. Well, Tua also sucked because he didn't have the offensive line, and he was kind of a project QB. He didn't develop as quickly as Burrow or Herbert, right? But I don't know if Tua is a bench guy or if he's a starter. But now there's no excuses with Jalen Waddle and all these other pieces that you picked up. Even Chase Edmonds from the Cardinals, he's a solid piece. So if you go and look at the starting lineup now, Armstead's there too. So you have no excuses now, Tua. And you got a brand new coach, the OC, that was calling the plays for the Niners, who looks like a Starbucks barista. He's handling it down there. So I don't think Miami necessarily is a Super Bowl caliber team, but don't be surprised if they don't get second place behind Buffalo in the AFC East and they surpass New England in that division. I think that Miami has enough now that with the pieces that they have, depending on what they have with Tua, and if Tua sucks, I believe they have Teddy Bridgewater there, correct? So then they can throw Teddy in there and he can be a game manager and you can get to 10 or 11 wins. Not saying that they're going to win a Super Bowl or win a playoff game, but they're a lot better off now than they were. And we just got to see what the Packers and the Chiefs are going to do after this. That's big facts. YouTube GM in the building. What to do? How are you, brother? Then now they just need Deshaun Watson. Cyberpunk 53. Man, I know it's tough, right? I know it's tough. It's one of those things where, you never expected Tyreek Hill. You know what I mean? When I woke up to the news, I was like, oh, Tyreek, is this really happening? Is this really a possibility? But again, it's not like you got fleeced and you took the Jets deal. The Jets weren't even offering a first rounder. So if you actually look at the compensation, for what you were going to get with the Jets and what you were going to actually get with Miami, he lives in Miami in the offseason. The team is better off in Miami. He was never going to go to the Jets. Now, the offensive scheme would have fit better for Tyreek with Zach Wilson. If you had him there, he would have been able to get more yards. We had a better quarterback. You would have been able to be like the guy. But the Jets are horrible, and they don't have anybody there. So, of course, why would you go to New York when you can go to Miami with the ladies, the food, the late night partying, and just the better overall team, and the compensation was better. So I know it hurts. All right, Cyberpunk 53 and the Chiefs Kingdom. I saw a lot of people, even Holly Hundo. What happens when you have your favorite player and they leave your team? You burn the jersey, you buy another jersey, stop buying jerseys. She did a poll. I know it's tough. And a lot of times people like to make fun, this and that, but I do feel for the Packer fans and I do feel for the Chiefs fans. But like I said, it's not completely over necessarily with the Super Bowl run. For some Chiefs fans, us NFL fans like to overreact. Right? We love to overreact with the news. We always get too emotionally invested and we get too high on things and we get way too low on things. Sometimes we got to let a few weeks pass, see what the team is going to do. And I'll tell you what, if I was the Chiefs with Veach and everyone that's there, I would feel okay. But if I'm the Green Bay Packers with Kutakutz and LaFleur, I would be worried. Because you had your chance, kind of like when the Saints had their window. The window's closed unless you get like a DK Metcalf kind of guy. And even if you do get a DK Metcalf to replace Adams, I don't think you're going to be better than the Niners, the Bucks, or the Rams. So Aaron plays great football during the regular season, but I just don't know about the post. And when we know Mahomes hit a little bit of a wall, right? But with 5 draft picks, I imagine you're going to be able to get someone like a Chris Olave kind of guy, or maybe still you can maybe lure away a DK Metcalf or a Tyler Lockett, and you got Juju, so that helps soften the blow a little bit too, even though he's not a true number one. No one will replace Devontae Adams in production. No one will replace the speed of Tyreek Hill and those ability plays where he's able just to be like, peace, I'm out, boom, 80 yards for a touchdown. There's just nobody like Tyreek in the league, and there's nobody really like Devontae in the league either right now. So it's going to be hard to replace, but you got to do your best to find the talent level that can give you similar yards, receptions, touchdowns, and not be a headache in the locker room. And that's big facts. All right, let's see here. So I'm scrolling down here. So the Chiefs, obviously I went over it here already, and we'll go through some of the stats. So with the Chiefs, and I went over this already, we'll go over the specifics here, and there's a lot of things that are kind of floating around. Let's see, Olave, I was just talking about him. And let's see here. We just got a message here from Sarah. It says that he has scheduled visits to the Commanders, the Buccaneers, and the Cowboys. And I imagine the Chiefs and a few others are going to be looking at him as well. And then another news story from a few hours ago, Bobby Wagner may be going to the Rams. Possibly there's mutual interest. I mean, the Rams already got plenty of fucking people, right? But that's how it goes. I get it. People didn't want me to win after I won the Super Bowl. I totally get it. So right now, if we're looking at it, so we got Tyreek the Freak Hill, 6-time Pro Bowler, all right? traded to the Miami Dolphins, fins up, for 5 draft picks, a 2022 first-round pick this year, number 29, a second-round pick, number 50, which you can get quality wide receivers out of those 2 picks if you choose to, right? A 4th-round pick, and then a 4th and 6th rounder next year. So that's a lot of capital. You don't really know what you're going to get out of a 4th rounder or a 6th rounder, but with a 1st and 2nd rounder, you should be able to get somebody there. And there's a lot of good quality wide receivers that you might be able to pick up in this particular draft. Are they going to be Tyreek the Freak Hill? No, but just to give you a few names as we go over, the list, right? So you got guys that you could look at. So I'm thinking Garrett Wilson from Ohio State. He looks like he's a stud. All right. Drake London, 6'5", 210. All right. USC guy, could be someone that the Packers are looking at, maybe the Kansas City Chiefs. You could be looking at someone like that. Treylon Burks, who could be like DK Metcalf. He might be the sleeper of the draft. Arkansas junior, 6'3", 225. He looks like he's got some skills that might be able to pay the bills. Who else am I looking at? I'm looking at Jamison Williams from Alabama, junior, 6'2", 189. If he didn't tear his ACL, he probably would be the first wide receiver off the board. Chris Olave, maybe the most wide receiver ready wide receiver in college to go to the NFL and make the jump. He looks like he's pretty nice. So, if the Chiefs or Packers can get one of those guys, things might not be looking too bad. You might not be able to be doing the leap out there with Tyreek anymore, and he's going to be joining a new team in Miami. I get you. All right. It definitely looks a little weird with Tyreek in those colors. All right. But I don't think that the Chiefs are that far behind necessarily where their Super Bowl run is over. Maybe you can say that for the Packers, but it's not something you want to wake up to. It's therapy session right now. So, if you want to bitch and you want to moan, you want to complain, you want to be able to tell me how you feel, go right ahead. But for those people, like hybrid, that you're young and you're immature and saying, these guys are on suicide watch here and there. You watch in a few years with Lamar Jackson or Mark Andrews or anyone that you care about on that team, and then they decide to leave, and then you start bitching and moaning, and then you'll never even remember this day when you were trying to point fingers at the other organizations when they lose their guys. Yeah, it's all nice and, it's all nice and easy breezy cover girl, when it's not your team. And then when it ends up being your team, then you're the one fucking crying in the corner, not going to school, head buried into your fucking tissues. All right. So remember that. You got to be able to keep an even mind on things and not attack people, because sooner or later, karma is real and it's going to come to your team. All right. Remember, these players don't care about the name on the front like a lot of us do, right? It's about the name on the back at the end of the day. And that's facts. All right. 5 picks for 5 picks. It's crazy, right? Crazy. They got 5 picks there. Slim Master. So they have a lot of money now since Hill left. They do, but we'll have to see what they can do there. Tua will be just good enough to not be replaced. He will be mediocre. We'll see what he can do. I don't think he's really a starting caliber guy. He's more of a backup to me. So they will be looking for someone after this year to be able to fill the spot. And the Dolphins should be a very good team for many years to come. And just imagine if they would have picked Justin Herbert like they should have instead of Tua. They'll never, ever forget about that. And that's facts. Calvin Griffin in the building. Waddle and Hill. Motherfuckers. Hey, very, very fast. Very, very fast. Broly in the building. What to do? Hybrid. Slim answer. Yeah, but Tyreek is a big loss. Yeah, but so would Mark Andrews for your team or Lamar if he decides to leave. So remember, Tyreek is a loss. All right, it's a pretty big one, but they still have a good supporting cast there. It's not the same as like Devontae Adams leaving the Packers. Who else do they got? MBS is still looking for a team. You got Aaron Jones there. You're right. You got Tanyan, but you don't really have anyone that you can trust. Allen, the Lizard Lazard. You got better weapons over on the Chiefs side with Travis Kelce, McCole Hardman. You got Juju. So, yes, it hurts with Tyreek, but they have other guys that can still step up and can get you to roughly 8, 9, 10 touchdowns. McCole Hardman could. Obviously, Juju can get you 8, 9, or 10 touchdowns or slightly more. So if I was a Chiefs fan, of course, I would be pissed too. But that's a matter of the business. These guys, they had Aaron Rodgers and Mahomes as their quarterbacks, and it doesn't matter. If you win a Super Bowl, Tyreek doesn't give a shit. He's like, I'm getting paid. All right. Devontae Adams never won a Super Bowl. And instead of maybe being on the cusp of maybe getting there with Aaron, he said, fuck it. My family and me were Raiders fans as kids. Carr is my homie, not Aaron. I'm going home. I don't give a shit if we ever touch the playoffs, right? Which I still think that they can. A lot of people doubted they would even make the playoffs last year, and they did. I told you the Raiders are definitely underrated, right? But sometimes it's not about that quarterback that's so good. Maybe it's really about a personal decision, and a lot of it has to do with the money and the cheddar, and that's facts. Calvin Griffin, Jamison Williams, the only player in the draft with their speed on the field. I agree. And I have to wonder, depending on the knee and the health and the rehab, where that really leads to. But I'll tell you what, if Jamison Williams ends up on the Chiefs or if he ends up on the Packers, watch out. Watch out, because that's going to be a guy that could really do some damage, moving forward, and that's big facts. Obviously, we know Tua can't throw, though. You know what I mean? So it's going to be a lot of bubble screens, a lot of sweeps, a lot of just like 5-yard slants, and then you hope Tyreek with his speed can get you those yards. But those big, long touchdowns that you were seeing with Mahomes, you're not going to get that. And you're not going to get that with Teddy Bridgewater, the backup, either. So you're going to have to be able to get someone else draft or get someone in free agency next year, or maybe one of the rookie quarterbacks moving on if they decide to move on from Tua. But with the new head coach from the Niners, the OC, the Starbucks barista, he's going to do whatever it takes to try to get Tua the confidence with all these pieces now, with some offensive line help. Guys like Chase Edmonds, who's a stud, a good two-way player. You got Armstead. Now you got Tyreek. It's starting to look pretty good there, and I think they surpass, obviously, New England. They are going to be the number 2 team in the AFC East. Not number 2 overall, all right, but I think number 2 in their division. I think they leapfrog New England. New England's not really making the moves, so we'll see. YouTube GM in the building, Slim Master in the building. I'm scrolling down here, and I'll get caught up. Elliot, Teddy is a game manager. Yes, he is. I got AEW on right now as well as the Memphis Grizzlies and the Brooklyn Nets. 2:20 left in the third quarter. So I'm trying to get everything going here. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Smash that like button. Donate to your boy if you can. Cash App, $ ORION, NWSF on the YouTube super chat right here. And if you're looking for merch, Northwest Sports Fanatic merch. Link is below every video on the YouTube page. Follow me, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, NW Sports Fanatics. And we started off a little slow the last couple days, but we ended up with a pretty good number. We got a nice $50 dono from Cyberpunk 53, a nice $50 dono from Holly Hundo, and then we finished off with about 170 last night. So shout out to the Chiefs Kingdom and the GOATs. Appreciate you guys very, very much. Let's scroll down here. Yeah, Pringle, and then Robinson looks like he's floating around. A lot of these other guys are starting to float around there a little bit. Rob Navarro, Bobby Wagner staying overnight on the Rams visit. I saw that. I just talked about that as well. Just when you thought that, they're done. The Rams are done. They're still trying to clean up and trying to do the same thing Tampa did 2 years ago, what the Rams did last year. You keep beefing up the roster, and right now we notice that, the Rams and the Bucs are the best in the NFC. They should be the Super Bowl favorites, those two teams. And then obviously you got the Packers and Niners kind of waiting in the wings, but we got to see what they can do. And then you got all those AFC teams now. So maybe the Chiefs go down from maybe winning the AFC West to getting maybe second place, but you never know. There's a chance that, if the Chiefs, underwhelm, maybe the Raiders or Chargers take a spot, and maybe the Chiefs don't make the playoffs. I doubt it. I think that they could still get second place. They should still be able to win 10 to 12 games, even without Tyreek. But if Denver clicks, which I think they will very quickly with Russell Wilson, and he doesn't get hurt, don't be surprised if the Denver Broncos don't win, if they win 13 games, you know what I mean? I think that would be very realistic, 12, 13, 14 games, and they get first. And then the Chiefs maybe get second place, but they might have to battle it out with the Chargers and the Raiders now. Pretty crazy. Pretty fucking crazy, man. All right, let's go here. Let's scroll down. Brute saying, I'm afraid this could be Michael Thomas one day, but I have faith he's staying this year. We already know he seems like he's more of a me guy than a team guy. But if you guys lose him, I'm not sure if it really is the same impact as Tyreek, because you had, Michael Thomas as the best wide receiver for 1 year, and then he's been hurt for the last couple. Tyreek hasn't really been hurt, and he's been one of the main guys right there at the top, and that's facts. Still rather have MT rather than any of our other wide receivers. Yeah, I know. I hear you. Sarah Small in the building. What to do? Light Gaming in the building. My Finns got Armstead and Tyreek. OMG, we are popping off. And there's going to be another bandwagon, Dolphins thing. Like I said, NFL fans are emotional. I'm not saying Light Gaming is a bandwagon guy. There's some guys that have been Dolphins fans. I know guys, some of my friends that have been Dolphins guys since, Dan Marino. Irving Fryer, way back in the day. So they've already gone through a lot of bullshit, just like Tampa went through a lot of bullshit until I got Brady. And then obviously prior to that, when we had Sapp and Brooks and Lynch, and we ended up doing big things, right? But there's going to be a lot of bandwagon Dolphin fans, just like there was a lot of bandwagon Chiefs fans when you got Mahomes and the success and everything that happened. But like I said, I think that the Chiefs are in a better spot than the Packers moving forward, not only with the organization and the guys up above, but with the players and the rosters and the coaching staff. Veach is awesome. So, I mean, if you're a Chief guy through and through, I wouldn't be as worried as much. You're not going to replicate the speed, but you still can replicate the touchdowns and the yards. Like if you get a guy like Chris Olave, it's not going to be Tyreek, the freak hill. It's not going to be the cheetah, but you can get a guy that can get you double-digit touchdowns as a rookie, and that would help you slightly forget about Tyreek a little bit. And that's big facts. Let's scroll down here. Let's see here. MT's staying. He's been posting between saying who dat and posted Jameis saying quarterback one, let's get it. Right. Until he doesn't get the ball or he gets hurt or there's some kind of scuffle, or some kind of issue. But it's not like MT has been on board with everything that the Saints have been putting out there. He can agree now because obviously he wants to get paid. He wants to be able to show out and either for the Saints to give him more money or that next team. But a lot of times, it's all about money, money, money. And that's obviously what it was for Devontae Adams and Tyreek. And with Devontae, it was actually going home too, because obviously we know his family and himself were Raiders fans as kids, and playing with Carr in college definitely helped make that decision a little bit easier. Jalen and Tyreek, come on. Yeah, pretty crazy, right? The speed is crazy. And then you had other guys on the roster too that are very nice. I mean, if you end up looking at that roster as a whole, it's just almost incredible to look at all the speed. But you do have a big hole there. You do have a big hole at quarterback. Because Tua is not the long-term answer. Neither is Teddy Bridgewater. So we'll have to wait and see where it goes. They still need to get someone better. Landry's still on the board. That would be a great addition, for the Kansas City Chiefs for, short-term. OBJ, 1-year deal. That would be a nice short-term Band-Aid. But I would be looking at a guy, like a Chris Olave. That would be a good fit for me. But it's crazy, man. It's crazy. Slim Master, I still believe my Chiefs can make a big move. I do too. Like I said, I'm not going to sugarcoat things. I think the Packers Super Bowl run is over, even if they ever had one to begin with. But with the Chiefs, I think you're still in the mix. I mean, if you want to get over emotional and say it's over, Tyreek's gone, everything's fucked and everything's done, and now Denver's taking over, and the Raiders and the Chargers, and now the Bengals are coming. We're fucked. We're never going to win ever again. Well, you still got Kelsey, you still got Mahomes, you still got a pretty good defense. You still got Spagnuolo, you still got Andy Reid, you still got Eric Bieniemy, you still got a good chunk of the core. Honey Badger might be gone. Yeah, Tyreek might be gone. But like I said, that's the NFL. It's a business. It's a business. Chief Will Chief in the building. What to do? Chief therapy session, baby. You know what I mean? Like I said, a lot of times these people love to poke and prod and make fun when they see other superstars leave their division to their rivals, or just like to talk shit and say, "Oh, I'm so happy that Devontae's gone." And some of these Packer fans have been Packer fans since they're little kids, or you get someone that's been a Chief fan since they're a little kid. And this shit is not easy to get over, especially when they're the top two guys. Because I'll tell you what, if I would have lost Chris Godwin, you know what I mean? I thought that was a serious possibility. I was not in a good mood, okay? Because when you have Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, whether you love them or not, that's the best duo at wide receiver, in my opinion. You could say that's a homer statement, but if you actually compare all the other wide receivers, yeah, I know they got Devontae and Hunter Renfrow, and there's all these other combinations that are very good. But if you're not being biased and you're just looking at stats and you're looking at guys that are going to produce for you, Mike Evans is top 10. Godwin is top 10. There's not really two guys with skill sets like those two that you can match up with any other guys. I know you got like Adam Thielen and Justin Jefferson. That's nice. And obviously you got Jamar Chase, and you want to, I guess, pair him up with T. Higgins. But obviously Godwin's better than Higgins, in my opinion. But there's a lot of other combinations. Jalen Waddle now and Tyreek, right? But when you lose a guy, especially at wide receiver or any one of your big name guys, it hurts. It's not fun. And I already know my run is only going to be temporary. I'm going to be good for one more year, more than likely, even though Tom took less money to get guys more longer deals. So after Tom is gone, like, Lombardi, Lenny, and some of these other guys will still be there. So I won't be so shitty after 1 year after Tom. So I'm hoping we win it all, and then we go from there. And then if, we don't win it after that for the rest of my life, so be it. But I'm trying to get that one more ring, that last one for Tom, that last one for obviously us Bucs fans, and then just go from there. But the Rams look so good, that might not be possible. And then you're looking at the Bengals and their O-line, and even though the Chiefs lost some pieces, it's not over yet. You got the Russell Wilson with the Broncos, Chargers are coming with Herbert, Raiders. I mean, you're starting to look at all of these pieces, and it's getting harder and harder, and it seems like everyone is catching up to that elite Kansas City Chiefs team that we saw from a few years ago, where we thought for sure this is the team that is going to be the closest to the New England Patriot dynasty. For 20 years straight, New England was so good. Who's going to be the team that's going to mirror that, the closest? The Chiefs. But then now, with Tyreek being gone, Honey Badger, now you're thinking, I don't know. You got one Super Bowl, but how many more are you going to get? And maybe someone else comes in like Denver, and maybe they steal some of the thunder. Because I wouldn't be shocked if the Broncos win a Super Bowl in the next 5 years. I don't think anyone would be. So we'll have to kind of wait and see. That's big facts. Hybrid. So I feel the Packers' Super Bowl run has been over. Did they even have one, though? You know what I mean? I know they were a good football team, and this is not me talking shit. It's just like, we know Aaron plays great football during the regular season, but did anyone really have confidence in them in the postseason? From past years, it seems like history kind of started to repeat itself over and over, and a lot of it wasn't Aaron's fault. It was run defense. This year, special teams, but also this year it was Aaron. You know what I mean? I thought that was a horrible performance against the Niners, especially if you're back-to-back MVP. You expect a little bit more from one of the best players on planet Earth. You know what I mean? So we'll have to kind of go from there. But it's a team game, not a me game. And that's really what it comes down to, with some of these guys like Brady, Manning, Montana. You got to have the coaching. You got to be able to have the team play, but you got to win the battle in the trenches, the O-line, the D-line, the defense. That shit is fucking important. And a lot of times people don't understand that. It is true. It comes around. I wanted Robinson years back when the Bears got him, and bang, we got him in free agency in LA. It's funny how that works out, Mr. Williams, right? You know what I mean? Sometimes you can really love a player, or you can talk shit about a guy, and sometimes the sports gods have a funny way of kind of dropping that guy back into your life. Because I guarantee there was a lot of Washington Redskin fans, Washington football team, and a lot of Washington Commandos that were like, fuck Carson Wentz. He's a bitch. He's a bum. I hate him. And then 6 to 8 years later, boom, now he's your starting quarterback. It's like and you don't think it's going to happen. It's already happened once with Donovan McNabb. So that's why I always tell people, be careful on what you say and what you wish for, because the sports gods are listening. And it's just weird sometimes how things end up playing themselves out. And that guy that you fucking so-called hate might end up being the guy you have to root for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years down the road. And that's big facts. Let's see here. Tua's not that good, but he didn't really have an O-line or a lot to work with. But their draft picks have been amazing. With Javon Holland from Oregon. If you really look at the draft picks, besides the Tua pick instead of Herbert, imagine if they had Herbert right now, where they would be. It would be insane. Herbert would have made the playoffs for him right away, and we would be talking about Miami every fucking weekend. We'd be talking about how good they are, how they're going to be right there with fucking Buffalo, and it wouldn't be all this Josh Allen talk all the time. You know what I mean? And then Burrow would get his love for the Bengals, and he still got the Chiefs and then Russell Wilson. But I think that Miami with Herbert, it could have been really special. So obviously they didn't know what the fuck they were doing there. But besides that, maybe they can get their guy in the next couple years. Saints said they're going to pursue a wide receiver in free agency. Who are they going to pursue? Jarvis Landry? You know what I mean? He can come home from LSU. You can come home, but is he going to want to come there? We'll have to wait and see. EMC 84. Bruh, this offseason is insane. Trust me. Out of all the years that I've covered football, I've been doing this shit for 10 years. This is my 6th year on YouTube. And prior to me even being on YouTube or doing videos on other platforms, I've always been this way since I was like 5 years old. I'm always reading, looking at football cards, reading the stats, what college they went to, how many receptions, yards. I'm always digging deep in everything. I have never remembered a March like this ever. This is probably the most wild offseason ever, period. Out of any sport, NBA, NFL, MLB, I have never thought so many things could happen, and a lot of the unimaginable shit that's happening right now as well. It's crazy. He said, bro, this offseason is insane. I never would have expected Hill that would leave the Chiefs. I knew he wanted money, and I knew that it was a possibility. If you actually read in between the lines and you actually go through some of the statements of some of the players and what they make and what they say, and sometimes when contracts are going to be up pretty soon, you can kind of get a feel. Did I know it was going to happen today? No. But I knew at some point with some of these big guys, that there's a chance that, maybe they're going to force their way out or they want to get paid somewhere else. And obviously the thing is that if the Chiefs really wanted Tyreek, right, they could have got the deal done during the regular season or before Devontae Adams and some of these other guys like Christian Kirk set the bar too high. You know what I mean? And then once you start seeing other guys that are nowhere near Tyreek's level, And you got Drew Rosenhaus. I mean, this guy, he gets paid, a percentage of all these deals. So that's why Drew Rosenhaus is one of the best agents out there, because when these guys get paid, he gets paid. All right. He gets the money. All right. So obviously he's going to tell Tyreek, instead of maybe he thinks Tyreek is worth, let's say 100, and realistically, and maybe in Drew Rosenhaus's brain, he's like, okay, maybe Tyreek is worth 110. I'm going to tell him he's worth 150, so that way he kind of boosts up and, makes the head get a little bit bigger. Like, dude, you're the man. You're the man. You're the best. You're worth $40 more million. And then Tyreek's like, yeah, I am worth $40 more million. And then they end up getting it. And then he gets more money. So, but obviously with Davante and Tyreek, they're special guys. There's not a lot of guys that can compare to those two. And that's facts. Christian Kirk set the mark when that bum signed that pricey contract with the Jags. Christian Kirk has got game, but he ain't like Tyreek or Davante. I agree. That's crazy. Landry and the Saints or the Colts. Still got OBJ floating around, Julio Jones floating around, and obviously that's not Tyreek or Davante, but yeah, pretty crazy. Holly Hundo in the building. How are you? She said, "Don't ask how I am." And I saw your things there, on your post, and like I said, I'm giving you a therapy session here for any of the Chiefs Kingdom. Bottom line, the Super Bowl run isn't over. Tyreek Hill for 5 picks that on that side, that's good. All right, so at least that way that you're going to be able to get proper people there. You got Juju there, so that helps soften the blow. It's not over, but you're probably not going to win the AFC West now, realistically. Denver, I would say, anything can happen. But there's still DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, maybe a wide receiver in the draft like Chris Olave. So it's not completely over. It just seems like it's over right now, all right? And like I said, it's not like Miami is going to go to the Super Bowl with what they have. So we already know this is a tough pill to swallow, for the Chiefs fans. But again, when we first heard of Tyreek the Freak Hill and Davante Adams, when we first heard about them, right? Did anyone really know who they were? Did anyone really understand that they were going to develop into the players that they were? No. Like I said, Davante Adams was a nobody. You know what I mean? Like, we knew that he came out of Fresno State, but it's not like he was a Megatron, like right out the gates or anything like that, right? And Tyreek started off as a special teams guy when Jalen Ramsey called him out, called him a bitch, and said that he only can play punt returner and kick returner. And Tyreek worked hard year in and year out to be able to, be a starting wide receiver 3, wide receiver 2, wide receiver 1, use his speed, but then also work on his route running in his hands. And then he developed into a top 2 wide receiver. So obviously it's not a good look right now, but with the 5 picks and knowing how savvy Veach is, I'm more comfortable with the Chiefs moving forward long-term rather than the Green Bay Packers long-term. Because I don't know, I think that window might have closed, but lo and behold, if DK Metcalf ends up getting traded to the Chiefs or, to the Green Bay Packers tomorrow, are you guys really that butthurt at that point? No. You're going to be like, fuck, we lost Tyreek, but now we got DK. You know what I mean? So you got to remember, there's still other guys out there floating around, and there's other guys that can develop into the next Tyreek or the next Davante Adams, like maybe a Chris Olave. So remember, the wide receiver class this year is deep. So that's a good thing for not only the Packers, but the Chiefs and a lot of other teams. So if it was thin, I'd be like, oh, fuck, you guys might be fucked now until next year. But like I said, the wide receiver class is very, very deep. All right, there's still some guys floating around on free agency. You still got Julio, you still got OBJ, you still got Landry, where you can sign for like 1-year deals and then, put a little Band-Aid on it. And then maybe you can call Seattle and see what DK, what they want for him, or maybe Tyler Lockett, and maybe you get someone like that, and that's going to help soften the blow. All right, that is going to help soften the blow. All right, let's see here. I don't know how I feel if we got Landry. It would be a dirt cheap deal. I'd be fine with it. Well, it gives you another player that Jameis can throw to. So bottom line, if you get a guy and it's short term and it's going to help you get first downs, help you win games, and it's going to help you beat Tampa Bay, you're going to be all for it. If Landry ends up getting you 8-9 touchdowns and they dominate Tampa Bay and you guys have another weapon with Michael Thomas, you're going to love it. And he's from LSU, a kid coming home. So I know it might not be your favorite player, but let's be honest. It's like when I got Russell Gage. A lot of people were like, is that even really a big deal? Yeah, it is. Because if those guys get hurt, Mike Evans or Godwin, I can count on Russell Gage to actually catch the fucking football, not like Tyler Johnson or Darden or some of these other guys. I didn't have AB. Gronk got shut down with the Rams. So it's like you got to be able to have as many guys that can catch the football and run good routes. And it might not be your number one choice, but if the guy still has skills like Landry, you're going to welcome him on as long as you don't overpay. That's facts. So I'll be back in a few because it's been a wild day in KC. I bet. All right, let me scroll down here. Yeah, I know a lot of people are not feeling too good right now with everything, but Big T, Chiefs will go get Julio Jones and revive his career. Well, Julio has hamstring injuries and issues, Big T. So no matter what team gets Julio, you're only going to get him for probably 7 to 10 games. So I don't think you're going to revitalize that career at all. Jameson Meza in the building. What to do? Chiefs Kingdom wanted some picks. They got the picks. And obviously, if you went to look at the Jets compensation, they didn't even offer a first rounder, and they had a couple top 10 picks, and they didn't even offer it. So I already knew he wasn't going to go to the Jets. And if Tyreek wanted to go to a better fit scheme for his skill set, going to Zach Wilson and the Jets would have suited him better. But obviously he lives in Miami in the off season. So as soon as I saw that Miami was an option, I said, he's gone. I already knew it. I was like, this guy's going to go for the money. Drew Rosenhaus. Anytime you see Drew Rosenhaus connected to a player, the guy's gone. Because the guy's all about money. He's all about getting the most out of his guys. He gets a good percentage out of these big deals. So if he thinks Tyreek's worth 110, he's going to tell Tyreek you're worth 160. You know what I mean? So that way he gets more millions in his back pocket. So be very careful and be aware when you see Drew Rosenhaus. And if he's linked to your favorite player, there's a chance once that guy's contract is up or getting close to up, he's going to leave. I mean, like I said, and it's crazy. Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, and you walk away from that to go to Tua or Carr, but it's not about that. It might be about the lifestyle. It might be just living in Miami. You already won a Super Bowl. Tyreek don't give a shit about that anymore. He didn't care about the legacy. Otherwise, he would have stayed. But sometimes as fans, we love the jersey and the name on the front. But in the end of the day, like I tell everyone, it's always the players with the name on the back. That's what's most important to them. And that's usually with the paycheck in mind too. And that's big facts. Chief will chief in the building. What to do? Brute saying Julio's career is over. Yep, I agree. It says, I'm glad Chiefs aren't paying $30 million a year for Hill. And also, too, I don't want to be, this guy either, but, I call it right down the middle, and I'm not ever saying that, there's one person to blame, for the whole thing. But this guy right here, all right? I don't want to say this is a single reason why Tyreek left, all right? But when you get a guy that takes a big fucking deal, right? A big money deal, which he deserved it. I mean, he's one of the best quarterbacks on planet Earth. But when you take so much money in a crazy contract, that's less money for other guys, right? And the reason why Tom Brady has been so successful on any team that he's ever been on, he's always willing not to take the max contract and take less money to bring more guys back. And since Patrick decided to take that big money deal, that was the beginning of the end. So if you got a quarterback that takes a big money deal, and obviously we know Aaron Rodgers is another guy that likes to take the big money deal. But if you take a big money deal, chances are, if you're Mahomes or you're Aaron Rodgers, right? Devontae Adams is gone, Tyreek is gone, and there wasn't enough money maybe for their sake, moving forward. And if you take a lot of money or a big chunk, chances are those guys aren't going to be coming back because they're going to go somewhere else and try to get the money that Mahomes and Rodgers got, but they're just going to get it somewhere else. Tough pill to swallow, but I think the Chiefs are much better off right now than the Green Bay Packers. I'm giving you this therapy session, and I don't need to sugarcoat anything. The window for the Packers seems like it's over, but it's not. Because if you get DK Metcalf tomorrow, all is better. Same thing goes for the Chiefs. You get Tyler Lockett tomorrow, DK Metcalf tomorrow. Everything is good. Hallelujah. The birds are chirping again. You're not pissed off, burning jerseys. Things are back to normal. But it's just very emotional when it happens to your team. And that's why I had to call out Hybrid, trying to tell, these guys are on suicide watch. Don't be making comments like that. Obviously, you're young, and that's what a lot of young, immature people do. But you watch as a Ravens fan, when Mark Andrews' time comes up and he decides to turn his back on your organization, or if Lamar leaves, you're going to be crying. And you're going to be, pointing fingers and bitching and moaning too. So be careful on what you say and what you wish for on other teams, because it's going to come full circle on your favorite team down the road. Believe that. Let's see here. Jameson Mays is sending my sympathy to all the fans of Chiefs Kingdom. That was a massive bombshell that went off earlier today. I mean, obviously with Devontae Adams, that was pretty big too. And I always feel for, the teams and the fan base and everything, because you get these people, we invest a lot of our lives, in following these players, buying the jerseys, investing our time. And it's tough, it's tough to be able to, have it all play out. But like I said, I think things are going to be okay. Mr. Williams in the building. What to do? YouTube GM said Matt Ryan was obviously a large part of Julio's production. I think Matt Ryan will be great for Indianapolis as well. Yeah, we don't got any donos yet. Like I said, we've been starting off very slow the last 2 days. This is the third day. We're about an hour in. Hopefully, I know obviously with the news and it's a little bit somber and a little, not exactly what the Chiefs fans wanted to hear, but hopefully we end up on a good note. I know we got a nice big donation from Holly Hundo and Cyberpunk 53 to get us to 70 to 170 last night. So let's try to do this. Obviously I'm doing this full time. I'm grinding. So hopefully we can, get to a decent number by the end of the day. And I'm probably going to be streaming for, I would say probably 3 to 4 hours. So hopefully that I, can put on a good show for you guys. I usually put in a lot of effort and a lot of time as well. Let's see here. So thank you, Jameis Amazing. At least now I can relate to Packer fans when they lost Davante Adams. And sometimes you can't relate until it happens to you. And then you start to feel like, okay, you start to feel like what Tom Grossi maybe felt when Davante left. Like it's easy when it doesn't happen to your team and you can see the reactions of the other fans or the other fan bases. But until it really happens to your team, then you don't really fully understand. That's facts. Let's scroll down here. I'll try to get caught up as much as I can. Big T, if Danielle Hunter and Zadarius Smith both are healthy, that's the best pass rush duo in the league. I disagree with that, but I do think it's definitely improvement from what they had, and I think that the Vikings can win the division. I really do. I still think the O-line is a little shaky. Defense still needs to keep being built up. I do like Kevin O'Connell a lot, so don't be surprised. I mean, if they get DK Metcalf on the Packers, then they can be kind of where they were, but there's still a lot of dysfunction there in Green Bay. But I think Minnesota is coming, and don't be surprised if Minnesota wins the division this year or next year. I think they're very, very close. And like I said, as long as Kirk Cousins is there, you got Dalvin Cook stays healthy, Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, and you build the O-line, keep building the defense. Zadarius Smith was a big pickup. I think that the Vikings are inching closer and closer as the Packers are starting to get a little bit worse and worse as the years are going on. And that's facts. Said, Chiefs Kingdom, who do you like in the draft? I mean, there's a lot of guys. And like I said, the one that I think Tampa Bay would be great with would be Chris Olave. But I think for the Chiefs, that's what you need to be looking at. I mean, if you're looking at that one guy that could be a superstar day one, walk right into the Chiefs kingdom and earn everyone's respect and make you forget about Tyreek a little bit, it would be Chris Olave. I mean, I think that would be the guy from Ohio State that I would be looking at, but I just don't know if he's going to be sitting there at your draft position that you guys have towards the end of the first round. You might have to trade up to get a guy like that, but there's a lot of good quality wide receivers there, and that's big facts. A guy, Raiders. He said Carr and Adams already have tape out there. It's not like a big mystery move. They can work together. And I ended up watching that Fresno State highlight package from 2013. I think Carr had 7 touchdown passes in that game, and Davante Adams had 4 of them. And this was when Carr was a senior in 2013 at Fresno State. They had the rapport. All right, it's going to be amazing. And like I said, I thought that they could make the playoffs in Vegas within the first 3 years. And usually my predictions, I'm not 100% correct all the time, but I would say 70 to 90% on a lot of the things. If I do the research and I watch the film, I'm usually pretty spot on. And, they made the playoffs, within the first 3 years. And like I said, it wouldn't shock me one bit if anyone wins in the AFC West. Now you have Tyreek gone. All right, Davante Adams, insert him with the Raiders. Now you got Russell Wilson with the Broncos. Chargers picked up Khalil Mack and J.C. Jackson. Like literally, even though the Raiders, and Chargers seem like they're much below the Broncos and Chiefs, but now with Tyreek out of there, who's to say? I think the Broncos might be the best team for now, but if there's injuries to Russ or any of their key guys, Javonte Williams or Jerry Jeudy or someone else, the Raiders or the Chargers can win the division. All right, the Chargers are going to be like the Bengals from last year. I feel that they're going to make the big jump, and the Raiders, you can never count them out. Carr, Jacobs, Renfro, Waller, Adams. I mean, if you talk about 5 guys, who's a better 5 than that? Carr, number 11, maybe in the league as a quarterback. Josh Jacobs, top 10. Davante Adams, number 1 or number 2. Obviously, Cooper Kupp was number 1 this year, but normally Davante's number 1. Hunter Renfro in the slot, maybe top 20. And then you got Darren Waller, top 3 tight end. So, I mean, you got weapons there, but the O-line still needs a lot of work. And A guy, I think you can agree to that. Defense, kind of plagued by injuries, kind of a curse with the injuries with them as well, just like the Chargers. But we're going to have to wait and see. That's big facts. Let's scroll down here. Chief will Chief. Because I like Jamison Williams, Christian Watson, and Pickens, but I know it's a deep wide receiver draft class. Jamison Williams would be fire. Like I said, he would be like the number 1 guy off the board, but he had the ACL. And he went to Alabama, got injured in that natty against Georgia. I like him a lot. He would be probably the first guy off the board if he didn't get injured. I like him. If you guys get him, Whew, if you guys get him, I'm telling you, there'd be a lot of people that would be getting really excited because even though you lost this, if you end up getting someone like that, that could be a big upgrade. And with Jamison Williams, you're looking at 6'2", about 189, 190. And then with him, I think that, like I said, the injury definitely catapulted him in the wrong way. Obviously slid down the board a little bit, but that might be a good thing. As long as he ends up being healthy, when, the season starts, you'll be good. But I think Chris Olave and Jamison Williams, those are the ones that I would be looking at. Elliot Evans, he said, if the Saints don't draft a receiver in the first round, I will lose my mind. All right, I'm going to turn the TV on here. I already got the AEW Dynamite. I'm going to end up watching the replay here, and I got the basketball game on. Memphis 125, Brooklyn 113. But yeah, with the Saints, I mean, it happens every single year, doesn't it? It seems like every single year you want them to be able to pick someone, and then they end up going for like an offensive lineman or a Peyton Turner or Paulson Adebo, and you're like, what the hell is going on here? But we'll have to wait and see. What a crazy was in the first time the news came out, Tyreek trade being possible. Not even an hour later, it was very quick. Very, very quick. That's facts. All right, I'm scrolling down here. He said, at least no one voted for burn the jersey, my poll. I never would do that anyway. Yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot of Cowboy fans and a lot of fans of other teams do that. And you got to remember, why would you want to burn? I mean, you get highly emotional when one of your favorite players gets, traded away. But that'll be a throwback jersey down the road. And just because a guy left, to go to another team at the very end of his career, you never know. He might end up coming back for like a 1-year deal for that last year with the Chiefs. Sometimes players do that. And if you never had Tyreek the Freak Hill, the Cheetah, you guys never would have won the Super Bowl. So I know if I was a Chiefs Kingdom guy, I'd be pissed. You know what I mean? But I wouldn't burn the jersey. I definitely would hang on to it. Maybe I wouldn't be wearing it, this upcoming season. I'd be looking for someone else, to probably represent and wear. But I would throw it in the closet and hang on to it. So someone brought up that last season, Chiefs were 8-0 in games where Hill didn't play. So there you go. But the wide receiver class is good. So at least that's on the bright side. And I would still be taking calls to Seattle about DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. I definitely would be making calls for them to see what they could do. All right, let me see here. Elliot Evans, burning jerseys is corny. Right. Yeah, and a lot of times when these people burn the jerseys, they're not even real ones. They're like fake ones that they bought on like eBay or, that are like from China and they don't even have the name spelled right. You know what I mean? Tom Brady with an E at the end instead of a Y. Get out of here with that. It's not even a real one. You know what I mean? Let's see here. Anyone who keeps saying the Chiefs and Packers are better without Hill and Adams are full of shit. Yeah, obviously they're not better. You know what I mean? Obviously both teams are not better. We know this. That's 100%. Marino. Well, yeah. Well, Dan is in a whole nother era. Kettle in the building. What to do? Yeah. But don't try to be all making all nice with all the Chiefs fans, Hybrid. You're the one that told them that they should be on suicide watch. So you're a hater. All right. So just own up to who you are. If you're a hater and you don't like any other team besides your own Ravens and you want to be able to make the comments, stick with it. Be that guy. You just can't be able to pretend to be nice to the other Chiefs fans in the room. Deep down, you're happy, all right, that a lot of these people lost weapons in the AFC. So it makes it easier for your Ravens to be able to go to the Super Bowl. I mean, I know your type of fan, all right? There's a lot of you that I know, and a lot of people are like that. You know what I mean? They can try to say one thing, and then when they get in the room with other people, then they try to make face and act like, oh, I didn't say that or this or that. You were the one that had that first statement right there, the immature statement that the Chiefs fans should be on suicide watch. So you can't backpedal now, all right? Own it that you are that type of fan, and that's fine because that's who you are, all right? All right? All right, that's what it is. All right. But a lot of people, they do have a little sympathy and compassion when you end up losing a guy. Just because you haven't lost Lamar or Mark Andrews yet doesn't mean that you won't. And when you do, then you'll understand what everyone else is feeling. And that's big facts. YouTube GM Raiders can make a Super Bowl run. Really depends on coaching. And Josh McDaniels being there is huge. So you're going to get a good offensive weapon there. And like I said, I wouldn't be surprised with the Chargers and the Raiders making a big jump. But obviously with Denver and Russell Wilson, that's got to be the favorite to me at this point. I think that they are going to be the top dog in the AFC West. But I still think Chiefs should be second. But we got to see how kind of the draft plays out and some of these other, pieces fall and how the dominoes fall, and that's facts. All right, let me scroll down here. I'm almost caught up. I think Travis Kelce might have 3 good years ahead. Well, now Travis Kelce and his targets are going to be crazy. I imagine there's going to be a lot more targets, a lot more looks, a lot more double teams as well. But at least you got Juju there already, so that helps soften the blow a little bit. And that's big facts. Brute saying if the Vikings coaching gets better, they can be a good sleeper team for the NFC, in my opinion. I think they already are a sleeper team, Brute saying. You know what I mean? Because if you're looking at, you got the Saints and the Bucks. We know that will be pretty good. Maybe the Commandos and the Eagles and the Cowboys. We don't really know what we're getting there. All right. You got the Packers and the Vikings. And then you obviously know that it's going to be the Rams and the Niners, maybe the Cardinals, but we don't really know. And Seattle's at the bottom. So Vikings already at this point, they're kind of like you. They're kind of like the Saints, where they're floating right there around maybe that 9, 10, 11, 12 win range if everything goes right. Now, if they have a few injuries, then you're probably going to be like 8 and 9 or maybe like 7, 8, 9 wins, right? But if you guys can stay healthy, pick up the right people, have good coaching, both of the teams could excel and do some damage in the playoffs too. And that's big facts. Chief, I still think Beach will find good young players to keep us in Super Bowl contention for years. I agree. And like I said, if I thought, that the Chiefs are fucked and screwed forever, I mean, I would let you know. And I don't think that they are. I definitely think that, it's not the most ideal situation right now, but I think that it's not going to be as bad as people are making it out to be. You got to be able to kind of wait for, the draft to happen, and we still have a few other days up to the draft to see what other crazy things happen, because it seems like every day we're having a new thing happen. So, and again, DK Metcalf to the Chiefs, DK Metcalf to the Packers. No one gives a shit about Devontae Adams and Tyreek after that, because even though DK is not as good as Devontae Adams or Tyreek the Hill, the Cheetah, right? DK is still considered a top 12, top 10 wide receiver. So he might not be number 1 or number 2, but he's young, he's physical, and he would give you that boost and that confidence. We're like, all right, we're still here. We can still do it. You know what I mean? Let me check. That's a good question. We've been on out for an hour now, and I don't think so. Nope, nothing yet. But like I said, I'm going to keep grinding. I'm going to keep hustling. And like I said, I know the big day is usually on Thursday. So Thursday usually will be the big day with the donos and whatnot, but I'm going to keep hustling and I'm going to keep grinding. So hopefully we can get to, 50 to start off and then a hundo. And then once we go there, we usually go 2 hundo and we'll go from there. But obviously with the Chiefs Kingdom and the news, I know it's a little somber news there, but hopefully we'll get a little bit of love for some of the goats here. Saints next form of business need to be signing CD to a long-term deal. I totally agree. I think that's something that they definitely need to be able to address. Brute Saints on that as well. I mean, there's certain pieces that you need to be able to address, and that's definitely one of them. Galadese, I have no what I'm doing for fantasy now. Free agency is way too crazy. That's facts. It seems like anytime you think you know anything about fantasy football, especially if you're a casual fantasy football player, can you imagine going into fantasy football drafts and then all of a sudden you'll be like, who are these people? Like, you don't even recognize who these people are. Luckily a lot of us in the room are hardcore football fans, so it won't happen to us. Got to be able to build through the draft, and Beach has improved every year in drafting talent. I agree. And that's why if you guys didn't have Beach and you guys didn't have Andy Reid and Bieniemy and you guys didn't have your personnel, you guys have one of the best run organizations, I feel, in the NFL, top 5. So I think you guys will be okay. It's not a good look with Tyreek leaving, but it's not going to be the end of the world, and you can still make the playoffs without him. And a lot of teams, if you lost Tyreek, it's over. Like, you're not going to the playoffs. It's just like the impact with the Packers. The Packers might make the playoffs. They might not. They might win the division. Maybe the Vikings do. I mean, we don't really know. It all depends on the chemistry with Aaron, if he can find chemistry with other guys. If MVS comes back, or if it's like Tanyan or Allen the Lizard Lazard, like who else is coming over there to help them out? We have to wait. We have to wait and see. I'm still betting on the Chiefs to be in the playoffs as well. When Hill declined to restructure his contract last year, the writing was on the wall at that point. Exactly. And that's what I was thinking too. And then they could have offered more money prior to all these other deals coming. But I think he thought in his mind, I already won a Super Bowl. I live in Miami in the offseason. He probably didn't know Miami would be the one, but they had a lot of draft capital. So it was like, okay, maybe they'll draft and, trade for me. Just like the Eagles had a lot of draft capital and they thought maybe they would be in the running for Deshaun Watson. Anytime you have 2 first-rounders, 3 first-rounders, or 2 first-rounders, 2 second-rounders, you know that teams are going to be calling to be able to try to, capitalize on that to see what they can do. So Cyberpunk, exactly, man. Exactly. If you don't restructure at the right time, there's definitely something going on, and then we know this. And then now the writing was on the wall, and now we have what we have now today. Yep. Agreed. Brute saying, yeah, I got to keep the secondary intact as much as possible. I agree. See, Holly's on that too. You know what I mean? It's like a lot of times when everything is working great with an organization, you sign immediately. Like, there's no questions. You sign, when the due date is up, everything is good. But then at that point after, if you don't sign, or if there's, kind of some locker room shit, or if there's like, some stuff that comes out on Twitter, then if it gets dragged out, the longer and longer it gets dragged out, there's a higher possibility of your stud or superstar maybe leaving. That's facts. 5 picks for a wide receiver is crazy, but we are talking about Tyreek. And if you think about Devontae Adams too, I mean, it seems like, it's a passing league now. So we know quarterbacks are very important. Offensive line's important. But if you don't have a true number one, you're never going to compete in this league. You have to have, more than almost just a true number one. You got to have a number one. You got to have a number 2. And you better pray that you have a solid number 3, or you're not going to be able to keep up in this league. And that's facts. I'm going to turn the fan up here a little bit. I'm going to go to Good Morning. No, not Good Morning Football, but I got AEW will be on in an hour. But I got NFL. Is that Harden? Oh, the Lakers. I'm not going to watch that. I'm not going to watch that. Let's see here. NFL football. What is it? Vikings and Cardinals. But I would assume it would be Chiefs with Tyreek, right? Let's see. Bobby Wagner visiting the Rams. That'll be another player for them to swoop up on. But yeah, five picks for a wide receiver is crazy. And they weren't even going to get a first rounder on the Jets compensation, even though they got 2 picks in like the top 10. So we got Vikings 20, Cardinals 7, 2021 week 2. So I'm not really sure why they're showing these particular teams, but hey, I'm going to watch it. As much as I hate Tom Brady, I'll give him credit for taking less money so the team around him can get built. I think that's the reason why he has so many. It's exactly why he's got so many rings, Brute saying. I mean, I think he's proven it over and over again. And even if you look at it when he came back this year, he took less money so that way Leonard Fournette could get signed. So, I mean, Tom already has enough money. And it's not about ego. But if you take more money, just like Aaron Rodgers did and just like Mahomes did, right? If you end up being this guy and you get like the biggest contract on fucking planet Earth, it's going to trickle down to the other guys, and you're not going to be able to afford some of the other guys. Maybe not right away, but a year, 2 years later, 3 years later, there's going to come a time where maybe that number 1 wide receiver wants to get paid the same way, and they can't because you gave all the money to Rodgers or you gave all the money to Patrick Mahomes, and then now you're both out of that number 1 wide receiver. But like I said, it's not the end of the world, but I think that's a big part of it, the trickle-down effect. And I mean, like, you can hate Brady all you want, but I think as you learn more and more about Tom, and you can be a hater, you can be jealous, you can have the envy, with the Belichick situation in New England. But that one thing right there, knowing what it takes to be able to be a champion, it's not me, it's team. And let's be honest, Tom Brady could have been the highest paid quarterback every single year in the NFL. Like, whenever his contract's up, he could have the most record-breaking Michael Jordan-esque kind of contract ever. Every single time his contract was up, he could have maximized the amount of money that he got, and he never did. So, I mean, and then obviously that's, equates to the rings that he got. Because I guarantee if he would have took max contracts and took the most money that he could have got, he never would be at the situation that he's at right now. He probably would have only a couple Super Bowls under his belt instead of having 7. He probably would have like maybe 3. That's facts. Calvin Griffin, he says, if Malcolm Jenkins is really retiring, don't be surprised to see the Saints throw some money at Honey Badger. Yeah, absolutely. Message from a Golden Eagle. What up, Ryan, in the NWSF? Tyreek Hill is now a Dolphin, not the Cheetah. It's all about the Monday. It is. Sad to say, but we know it's all about this. We know it's always all about this, and Tyreek proved it again. It's all about the money. That's facts. So it probably explains why he wasn't at a Pat's wedding or bachelor party. There you go. There you go. Gala said, let's really look at this. What other team had a 20-year stretch like the Patriots did? Why are we expecting another team to come up right now and be another? You're not going to. You're not going to be able to replicate Tom Brady or Belichick or the top 10 defenses that they always had that we always took for granted. I mean, shit, for a while, if you really look at it, I mean, if we really want to, talk about it, and Tom Brady, I know a lot of people hate him, right? And a lot of people don't want to give him credit, right? But let's just take a look at this for just a second with Tom Brady, right? This motherfucker's best wide receiver was like Julian Edelman. You know what I mean? Like guys that were nowhere near the talent of Devontae Adams and Tyreek, and he was still finding ways to win with garbage running backs and kind of average to above average wide receivers that were like decent, but they were like maybe top 20, top 30 wide receivers, not number one, not number two. So it shows you like how good Tom really is and how he made everyone around him better. You might hate the guy, you know what I mean, for what he did in New England and how many championships that he's won, obviously in New England and Tampa Bay. But I think he did more with less, and he was smarter than any other quarterback and not selfish. So, I mean, you can be a hater all you want, but the bottom line is his legacy is going to be a lot higher than your favorite quarterback at the end of the day, because he actually took care of his body, took care of his teammates, and made everyone around him better. And there's not a lot of QBs that would be able to have Julian Edelman as their number one guy, right, for multiple years and to be able to win championships the way he did. Wes Welkers and the Edelmans and the Amendolas. I mean, they're all pretty good. Don't get me wrong. All right. And you have Gronk, so you have one of the best of all time at tight end. But offensive line, didn't really have anyone that was like Hall of Fame every year. Defense, they had some good players from time to time. Some really good ones too, right? But they were always overlooked, even though they had top 10 defenses all the time too. But yeah, we're never going to see another 20-year run like that ever again. That's facts. I don't think it's a coincidence that Hill had a mansion built in Miami and started posting vids of him training in Miami way before this. Yeah, and I already knew that he lived in Miami like in the off season. So as soon as the news broke this morning, I didn't really want to, I posted just a little, link for you and Odin's son and Ryan Schrick. Ryan Schrick usually is the one that always talks shit to me as a Gator fan and a Chief fan. You know what I mean? And obviously with his reaction to it, it's like sometimes if you're a little bit too overly aggressive, you know what I mean? Sometimes shit happens, but I kind of knew as soon as I saw the news, I was like, uh-oh. Because I was like, oh, I already know that he was living there. So I was like, and then that was one of the teams that was interested. So I was like, oh, the Jets have no shot. But I didn't know it was going to happen so quickly, like an hour later. That's facts. A lot behind the scenes. That's big facts. Brood saying, I'm glad we got an offseason that is active as it is. Keep football alive until the USFL kicks off. Absolutely. Guy, Chiefs pick 29 could be a good spot if someone wants to move up in the first round. If somebody dropped, what a team. Casey could trade down and get more picks. True. Or if you end up getting a wide receiver that's still sitting there, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not sure if Jameson Williams or Olave is still going to be there at that number, but if they are, that could be perfect for them, moving forward. That's facts. Hey, I'm getting caught up, dude. It's an hour and 12 minutes. There's a lot of comments. I'm starting to scroll down here. Let's see here. NFL offseason, entire NBA season facts. Herbert didn't get the love from the media. Tua played for Bama. Herbert played from Oregon, right? Yeah, but if you actually looked at the body size, you know what I mean? You looked at the body size, the arm strength. Yeah, he ran, shotgun set and didn't go under center, and they had questions if they thought the leadership is. But if you look at it now, all right, you got a lefty, right? But he was injury prone. There was injuries there. I mean, did you really think Tua was going to be Steve Young? Like if you look at the body size, built like more like a Ben Roethlisberger or like a Phillip Rivers. I already knew Herbert was going to be a superstar, but a lot of these guys, they wanted to, just because he's from Oregon and maybe Oregon quarterbacks never panned out before, and maybe that has something to do with it too. Like Marcus Mariota won the Heisman and he even still didn't pan out. I get it. But when you have a certain individual like that comes around once every 50 years, you just know. Like I had the same feeling about Haloti Ngata about panning out, and Thibodeau this year. You just have that feeling about that beast mode kind of player. It's a man's game. And Tua is never going to be as good as Herbert. It's not happening. You know what I mean? And he's not even going to be as good as Burrow. He's just injury prone. He's a lefty. And even as a lefty, he's not like Steve Young. You know what I mean? If he was like Steve Young of this generation, then you could be like, okay, I see why they picked him. But he's nowhere near the Steve Young talent. And that's facts. It's one of the best underrated pickups in the entire NFL right now, as far as like wide receiver threes. I mean, if we get hurt with Godwin or Evans, I feel very comfortable because I've watched Russell Gage's whole career. I've seen him against Atlanta many, many times. He's solid. He's a guy that can get you 60 to 70 receptions. He can get you 600 to 1,000 yards, and he can get you 5 to 10 touchdowns, especially with Brady now. So I'm very excited to see what Russell Gage will be able to give us, not only as the third wide receiver, but if someone gets hurt, he can step up as a wide receiver too temporarily, and I like that. That's facts. Calvin Griffin, I'm almost caught up in the comments. I told you it's not going to take me 2 hours. If I'm the Saints, I would take a receiver and trade back in the first for another receiver or a right tackle. Yeah. Yes, I agree. Right. And there's a big reason why J.C. Jackson and a lot of these other defenses picked corners and safeties, and they picked particular players because they picked them for Tyreek being in that division. You know, Patrick Surtain, was picked for Tyreek. You know what I mean? So obviously they're not going to be better. And you can say the window is closed. I don't think it's closed all the way. I think the Packers are in a much worse situation than the Chiefs. But now you got teams that are catching up. And like I said, you got the Rams and the Bucks, the Niners and the Packers. But I think Rams and Bucks by far are the best, right? Niners right there at number 3, Packers at 4. And then obviously that's just the NFC side. AFC, I got to go. Whew, I mean, it's tough now. I got to go Denver, Bills, Bengals, and then maybe Chiefs at that point. So instead of the Chiefs maybe being number 1 or 2, maybe they're like the 4th. Because now you got to probably put the Bills and the Bengals and maybe even the Broncos ahead of them. But as long as you get into the dance, that's all really that matters. Right. And like I said, a lot of these people, it's not like Tyreek and Adams were superstars right away. Absolutely no one knew that Tyreek would go from being called a bitch boy from Jalen Ramsey and being a special teams guy, turning into a top 2 wide receiver in the league a few years later. So guys can develop. You can't necessarily teach speed. Tyreek always had that, but him going, at the top, at the high point to catch passes and his route running in his hands. I mean, he worked really hard to be the player that he is. And Devontae with his route running as well, with that little skip step at the line that he learned from Doug Baldwin. I mean, a lot of stuff can be learned, but speed is something that you genuinely just have. All right, I'm almost caught up. Chief will Chief, bang, $5 finally. I saw that we had that donation early on. Thank you so much, man. I mean, donations have been a little thin within the last couple days, but we have hit usually like 170 to 200 by the time that the show is over. But starting off the show the last 3 days, it's been definitely a little light. But thank you so much, man. I appreciate you very, very much with all the turmoil and all the craziness, with all the shit that's happened. It's always good to be able to have people I can count on. Touchdown, Cardinals. Rondale Moore. $5 for Chief will Chief. Appreciate you. Thank you, brother. All right, $5. Let's get to a hundo, baby. Let's do it. So why would Metcalf want a chance of having to play with Love as a starter next year? Rodgers is a basket case and you can't trust him. Well, Jordan Love isn't going to start. Rodgers is starting, right? So if DK Metcalf goes to the Packers, it will be with Aaron Rodgers. We're talking about like doing it this year, like doing it right away, or Tyler Lockett, or if DK, I mean, I know they're going to be fielding calls, but there's still going to be wide receivers like Jamison Williams and Olave that could be impact guys right away. All right, I'm almost caught up here. Yeah, I'll never burn a jersey, no matter what. You know what I mean? I still got a Josh Freeman jersey in the closet. I mean, I still got Doug Martin, Muscle Hamster. I still got jerseys in there, but I'll never burn one. Eagles John in the building. What to do? Should be plenty of teams in the market for wide receiver, edge, linebacker. The last bit of movement hasn't favored Philly. All right, but I still like the position that you guys are in. I mean, the worst that you guys could finish in the NFC East is third. The highest could be first. But I got to be able to see what Dallas and the Commandos are going to do. Commandos and Dallas are kind of sitting in a good spot right now, even though I don't really like Carson Wentz. And then they lost, Randy Gregory, and they lost Amari Cooper. I just got to be able to see the development of Jalen Hurts, which I like, and I got to see who you guys are going to draft with your draft picks, and if you guys can hit on those or not. Marcos Pineda in the building. What to do? Epic NFL season. Damn right it's going to be. I know, honestly, with Andy Reid as coach. Yes, exactly. All right, but if you get someone that's young, hybrid, right? The reason that you're a hater is because you made that comment, the first comment of the day, talking about them being on suicide watch, right? And then laughing emojis. That pretty much says that you love your Ravens, you hate everyone else, you're glad that when other people lose superstars, and you make comments like that. Only an immature person would make a comment like that. That's like what trolls do. And I know not necessarily that you're a troll, but that's what the haters and trolls would say. I would never say that. A lot of people in the room right now wouldn't say that, but you did. So, hey, I got to call you out, man. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? If you want to talk about them being on suicide watch, I got to call you out, dude. Just facts. The Juju not a number one receiver, though. He's not. He's a wide receiver 2, maybe even a wide receiver 3. You know what I mean? So they still need other pieces, but at least they have Travis Kelce there. Could be much, much worse. Yes. I really do like the Vikings moving forward, and I wouldn't be surprised if they win the NFC North this year. That's facts. You did not say it as a joke. You did not say it as a joke because I know your type. I know that you love your Ravens and you love Lamar. You're biased for Lamar. You're biased for Mark Andrews, and you like it when other people lose pieces because that gives you a better chance to try to get a Super Bowl win. Don't lie to me, all right? I know you. I know your type, okay? Yeah, because the thing is, if it was such a joke, you would never even say that. That's not something that you say, and you said it as the first comment even before the stream started, all right? That's facts. You can't backpedal, bro. You can't backpedal. All right, I'm finally caught up. So Eagles John, he said, not trying to flame the chat, but the Chiefs got out in good time. They took a chance on this guy despite an ugly history with women and children. He owes more to them, but it became about cash. It did. It did. McCole Hardman could have a breakout year. Yes, he could. Oh, there we go. That's what I'm talking about. See, whenever things get low and, you never know what's going to be able to happen, you always have a couple studs to be able to step up in the room. And the two studs that I'm talking about, we're talking about Eagles John and we're talking about Cyberpunk 53. We were sitting at what, $5, right? For like an hour and 21 minutes. And I can always count on these two guys to step up besides like Holly Hundo and a few others. Thank you so much. I'm going to put it in the chat here in just a second. Thank you. Cyberpunk, you're the man. Without you, I'm telling you, man, without you or some of the heavy hitters, I don't know where I would be without you guys. And I need people like you, obviously to stay afloat and, and I'm grinding it out. And, it's like, I don't have any other income coming in. So it means so much to me to have people like you and the people that do donate and donate big. It means so much. Thank you, dude. Bang! Let's go, baby. Let's go. $100 when we're sitting at 5 with about an hour and 22 minutes in. Let's fucking go. My boy, Cyberpunk 53 with the dono. And then right after him, my boy, Eagles John with a tenner. Let's go, baby. Thank you so much, man. That definitely puts us at a better point moving forward rather than being at $5 with like about an hour and a half in. Thank you. Shout out to Chief with the $5 earlier as well. Bang! Eagles John with a tenner. Thank you so much. That's a much better number to be at this point. Thank you, man. 115. Let's just get to 200. And like I said, we were sitting, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just, the time of day, starting the stream a little bit earlier. Maybe I need to start a little bit later. And obviously when I start at 7 p.m., it's already 9 or 10 p.m. and some of the other numbers. Areas, where we're at, Midwest or East Coast. So, I can always do streams from 7 my time until like midnight. But then at that point, it's, midnight, 1, 2, 3 in the morning. So I try to start a little earlier, like 5 my time or 6. But it all depends on what's happening there. But shout out to the GOATs in the room to be able to support me, to be able to make sure I can pay my bills and grind it out. Thank you so, so much. I appreciate you guys. And it only took me an hour and 24 minutes to get caught up. So appreciate you guys very, very much. All right, let's take a quick look here. Tyreek, the free kill. Kansas City Chiefs. Obviously, this was tough. All right, but like I said, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Like I said, is the Super Bowl run over? Some people would say yes. I'm going to say no. For the Green Bay Packers, I can't really say no for them either. We got to see what DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, the draft entails for some of these guys. Because if you end up getting the new Devontae Adams and the new Tyreek Hill, there's always new guys that can develop. Like, look at Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson. We knew that they would be good, but they're already top 5 wide receivers. So if you can get someone like that to join the Chiefs or the Packers, you're going to be fine. You're not going to worry about, Tyreek or Devontae Adams. And it's not about the name on the front of the jersey. It's always going to be about the name on the back. It's always going to be one thing after you played, won a Super Bowl or not a Super Bowl. It's about money, 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 money. That's what it's about, the money, okay? And really, we have to blame, if you want to put the blame on, one person, blame it on Aaron taking the big money. Blame it on Pat for taking the big money. You take less money, Devontae Adams and maybe Tyreek stay. No guarantees, but there's probably a better chance that they stay there. But when you take the maximum and you take so much money, more than you need, right, then you end up losing out on guys that maybe would have stayed if you would have took a little bit less. And obviously the guy that always takes less is this guy right here. Thomas Brady, all right? And there's a reason why he's got way more Super Bowls than those other guys. So we'll see. We'll see on how it all plays out, but I'm still excited to see what the Packers can do. I'm still excited to see what the Chiefs can do as well. But 5 picks for Tyreek the free kill. And obviously that's a lot of compensation. And, there's a lot of good wide receivers that are still available. You can get OBJ on 1-year deal, Julio on 1-year deal, Jarvis Landry on a 1-year deal. All right, and you can also go for a Jameson Williams or a Chris Olave. But for the time being, this is what we have to look forward to. Tyreek on the Dolphins. I mean, he looks good in the uniform. It's a little different. It's not necessarily what I'm used to. It's a little different, but I think he will be a fan favorite there. But it's not going to be the same type of impact on Kansas City with Mahomes on the deep ball. But with a lot of the jet sweeps, the bubble screens, the 5-yard slants, I mean, he can still score 10 to 15 times with Tua, even though Tua doesn't have the arm anymore. And that's big facts. Cyberpunk, appreciate you, man. I appreciate you very, very much. Thank you. And Eagles John, thank you, man. Big stepping up for me. Thank you so much, man. $115 in donos. And like I said, I think it's a misconception because I never was a big Brady guy either. You know what I mean? But when you start to really read, on Brady, whether you hate him because he was on New England and you hate him that he's on Tampa and that he wins all these Super Bowls. But I mean, he just does everything the right way. You know what I mean? He always is working out. He doesn't do drugs or drink. He really does care about the teammates, even when they burn him, like AB, fly like a butterfly, sting like AB when he goes crazy on them. He takes less money. He wants, other people to join the team. He understands that it's a team game, not a me game. And if you take that big money, you're not going to be able to win Super Bowls more than likely because you're leaving out money that could go to other players that can help you win. And you can't win a Super Bowl by yourself. And that's facts. Alex says Orion's the GOAT. I appreciate that. So I love Matty Ice. I love what he said about Jonathan Taylor. Yeah, he's a beast. And like I said, I think with Matt Ryan, the misconception with him and Matthew Stafford is that they were washed. They're not that good. Why? Because they were on the Falcons and they were on the Lions. If you actually look at their stats, they did the best they could with limited options. And then they finally got a chance to show what they can do. First year, Matthew Stafford, boom, Super Bowl. You know what I mean? So good for him. I mean, of course, I would have loved to have been able to go back-to-back and beat them. I would have loved that for, my Brady legacy and for the Buccaneer legacy's sake. But everything happens for a reason. Everything happens for a reason. And, Matthew Stafford deserves it. You know what I mean? It's like if Brady gets 2 in a row and then we never get to see Matthew Stafford get a Super Bowl ring, I would rather have Matthew Stafford get one. I got mine. I mean, I got one in Super Bowl 37. I thought that would be the only one I would ever see ever. Right. And then obviously moving forward, we got one more year next year. And then after that, Tampa's done. You know what I mean? I don't think unless we end up getting a decent quarterback, I don't know who's going to be available. Gardner Minshew, Jimmy G. I don't know what's going to happen, but we're not going to be the same type of team without Tom Brady, even at Tom at 44 or 45 years old. So I'm going to try to maximize the opportunity, see if we can get one more. And if we fall short, we fall short. But at least football is going to be exciting for me for one more year. And that's a lot better going from 2008 to 2019, where my team was dog shit for 11 or 12 years. And that's tough. That is tough. Right? That's true. That's true. Right? But I mean, like I said, he didn't have to take the pay cut. I mean, he could have made a statement to the league, right? Where he could have made more money and like made it a point to be making like 50 million, a year type of average, like some insane 300 million, 400 million. But if that happens, I mean, you're not winning Super Bowls. You know what I mean? That's facts. I mean, even though he made guys that were mediocre or average or above average better, but I mean, it's just kind of crazy if you go back and look with like the Edelmans and the Amendolas and the Welkers, they never were considered top 5 wide receivers or top 10, right? And then he was able to get the most out of all of those guys, the Corey Dillons and the James Whites, and just, guys that were okay players. But I mean, they're not fantastic. They're not Hall of Fame or anything like that. Besides Gronk, that's really the only one. And Gronk obviously is one of the top 3 tight ends probably of all time. You got Tony Gonzalez, you got Kelsey, you got Gronk, and you got Shannon Sharp probably at 4. But you know what I mean? It's crazy, dude. All right, let me see. It's 23-21. Vikings up on the Cardinals. I do want to watch AEW Dynamite here in about a half hour. I haven't started drinking beer yet, so I should probably start doing that. I have gummies too. Today's show is sponsored by Wild Gummies. So maybe I'll take some of these. I don't want to fall asleep on the stream, but maybe it's time. Maybe it's time. Haven't done gummies in a little while, but I do have a beer. Let me go get another beer, pop a couple gummies. We'll have some conversation. We'll hang out, and we'll go get a mango beer, and we'll watch a little bit of this football game. We'll talk about Tyreek, anything that you guys want to talk about, and I'll be streaming probably for at least another hour and a half, 2 hours, maybe 3. We'll see how it goes. Field goal kick is up, 62-yarder, and it's good. Holy shit. Prater. Wow. What a fucking kick. All right, I'll be right back. All right, baby. Joe Fly in the building. What to do? Said, I told you the Chiefs wouldn't make the playoffs. See, this is another like a hybrid type of statement. This like hater type of statement. Just because Devontae left, right? And that hurts. Trust me. I bet as a Packer fan, right? But is it really necessary to be like, all right, you already are going through the misery of losing Devontae Adams, so then you got to be able to be happy when they lose their guy too? Is that how it goes, Joe Fly? So when misery enjoys company, you know what I mean? So like you lose Devontae Adams and you're already miserable, right? And then now you just have to be like, well, fuck them. You know what I mean? Is that how it goes? Is that how it goes, Joe Fly? Joe Fly, is that how it goes? You know what I mean? And I still think that they will make the playoffs, Joe Fly. And when you made that comment, you might have been butthurt that Devontae left, but the Chiefs, at least have the Super Bowl. And, in more recent history, their team actually has Veach and a good organization. All right. With Aaron and everything that they got there, obviously both organizations overpaid with Aaron and Pat, obviously, and that was a trickle-down effect with Devontae Adams leaving. Right. But is the Super Bowl window closed for Green Bay? Like realistically, the window for Kansas City is more open than it is for Green Bay. All right. Because Green Bay might not even win the division. And maybe Kansas City doesn't win it either. Okay. But I don't think anyone really believes in Green Bay anymore. I mean, you got the Rams, you got the Bucks, right? And you got the Niners. And then maybe Green Bay, if they get DK Metcalf or if they get a good wide receiver in the draft, they can be back in the mix and they can be great in the regular season. But what happens in the postseason, though? The same shit over and over and over again. I think I would trust the Chiefs a little bit more. So, you know, it seems like a little bit of a hater statement, just like with Hybrid at the very beginning saying that, oh, the Chiefs fans are on suicide watch with a lot of, you know, crying face and laughing emojis. That shit is not funny to kid about because the thing is, it's like you can say that all you want, but when it ends up happening to your team, it ends up being a little bit different. That's facts. Sounds like a little bit of a hater statement, Joe Fly. Explain yourself, Joe Fly. Dolphins going to finish first over the Bills and Pats. No way in hell. Now you're just trolling. Not happening. I think they can be ahead of the Pats, but they're definitely not going to be ahead of the Bills. No way in hell, dude. Cyberpunk. Exactly. He's talking shit. He's talking the shizzle. He said, I'm okay with getting rid of Adams because we got the value from him. Sure, he's the best wide receiver, but he wants to move on. But are you really okay? You know what I mean? Because obviously you don't really have anyone else that you can count on. Allen the Lizard Lazard, right? You got a few other guys that you might be able to go to, but MVS, we don't know if he's going to come back or not. And obviously you got, you know, Robert Tonyan, right? Big Bob Tonyan, but obviously he didn't trust anybody besides Devontae Adams, and that was a big chunk of the team. Aaron Jones can still do some shit at running back, and then you lose to Darius Smith. So I don't know. I'm not sure if the Super Bowl window is closed altogether, and you can say that you're okay at getting rid of Adams, but you're not going to get an Adams replacement. You're not going to get anyone as good as him, more than likely, right? Right? So I said the Chiefs won't make the playoffs before Adams left, by the way. But it sounds like you're the hater. I don't drink the haterade. It seems like you're biased towards the Packers, and then you're drinking the haterade towards the Chiefs. I mean, they ended up losing Tyreek, and even if you said it before or after, it seems like you got a little hate in your heart towards some of the other teams in the NFL, okay? It's not my fault that Aaron chokes in the postseason, okay? That's not my fault. It's not my fault that your run defense blew for 2 seasons, right, against the Niners and the Bucks, and you couldn't beat us, okay? It's not my fault your special teams was the worst in the league. That's a personal thing for you guys on that end to clean that up. And it's not my fault that you got the double MVP, right, that choked at home in Lambeau when he shouldn't have choked. If he's really that good, all right? So, I mean, if I'm not even drinking the haterade. I'm just stating facts, okay? You know what I mean? Aaron might be the most overrated quarterback of all time. I mean, with all those losses at Lambeau, you know what I mean? Packer fans don't want to hear it, but it's the truth. I mean, with the talent level that you guys had, you probably should have a couple rings under your belt already. You know what I mean? But that's facts. But it sounds like you're a little bit more of a hater towards the Chiefs and the other teams. That's what it sounds like to me, Joe Fly. Okay, well, we'll see what you get with them. We'll see what you get with them. You know, but to think that the Dolphins are going to beat the Bills and the Pats, if you really, truly think that, that's a little questionable, my guy. So how much is Tua getting paid? Hale making more than the quarterback is hilarious. That's crazy, isn't it? I mean, we'll see. And like I said, for my team, I already know my run is 1 more year. And after this year, I'm not going to be relevant unless I get a decent quarterback like a Carr or a Cousins or a Tannehill-ish kind of guy. Hopefully it's not Baker. Or Jimmy G, but who knows? You know what I mean? But it's not like I'm going to be good for years and years and years to come. You know what I mean? Obviously, the window for some of these other teams is going to be much, much better. But it is what it is. But right now, I still think the Rams, the Bucks, and then you got the Niners and the Packers, and then now the Chiefs with what they lost. You got to put the Packers down a couple slots, but they should still be pretty good. But the Vikings are coming. The Vikings are coming. And then you got the Broncos. I'd probably put them at the top. And then obviously you got the Bills and then the Bengals and then the Chiefs probably slide down a few spots as well, just based on what's happened. But like I said, we still got free agency. We still got names that are out there. We still got the draft. But we can't act like it's going to be easy to replace Devontae or Tyreek. That's facts. Yeah, Rasul Douglas was a nice pickup. Robert Tonyan, yeah. I saw that you got the Jaron Reed. But do you think that anyone else in the NFC really gives a shit? You know what I mean? Do you think anyone that really fears Green Bay? Like, that can beat your team. That's fine. But no one gives a shit about Aaron. You know what I mean? Like, no, you know what I'm saying? No one really cares about him or fears him in the playoffs. I mean, I guarantee with the Rams and the Bucks, we could give two shits. You know what I mean? Like, if we know we're playing you guys, more than likely we're winning. All right. If we're gonna lose, we're gonna lose to each other, Rams and the Bucks. You know what I mean? Unless you guys can find that magic formula. But I mean, with all the good seasons and all the good players that you've had, it just seems like there's always one thing or another. But we'll see. But I do like the pickup of getting Tanyan back. Rasul Douglas, his story is amazing. So obviously on that end, I really like that you got him and paid him. He's been kind of like that journeyman that really had a good season and deserved to be paid. Kind of sucks that you guys lost to Darius Smith, and now he's on the rival Vikings, but you guys can still move on. The Jaron Reed pickup was interesting. Didn't know if that was going to be a true option or not. But like I said, it's going to be a lot closer, I think, with the Vikings and Packers moving forward. So with some of Devontae Cap, I'd rather take all those guys over Adams, and that's facts. But you're not going to get production the same way. You know what I mean? Like the production that you got with Devontae Adams compared to the guys that aren't him. And if he didn't trust any of those other guys, I mean, what does that mean? Are you just going to go to more Aaron Jones? Is it going to go to Big Bob Tonyan? Where are the targets going? Allen the Lizard Lazard? Who's going to be the guy? Because if you don't have a true number one, how are you going to be able to win? You know what I mean? Watching Skip defend Baker to Shannon's pure gold. Yes, it is. Yeah, but if he took less money, maybe, well, I don't even know about it. If he took less money or more money, it sounds like Devontae already had in his head that he wanted to go back home. He was a Raider kid growing up. His family's all Raiders fans. He has a good connection with Carr. So maybe with Aaron taking money or taking less money, it didn't matter. That he would have, maybe he would have left anyways. All right, but when you're the MVP, right, whose fault is that? It's because you guys don't have a fucking owner. Kunta Kunz and LaFleur, you can say all this and having the people own the team, but you guys need structure. You guys need structure out there. And if you have a bottom 20 defense, that's not my problem. You know what I mean? That's your fucking organization. You guys need to be able to clean that shit up. You should have never, been one of the top teams in the NFL with the worst special teams or having problems stopping the run. That's a personal issue with your organization. And then not cleaning it up. You know what I mean? And just going based off the star players and thinking that they'll be good enough to get it done. It's a team game, not a me game. All right, but do you guys think that your Super Bowl run is still intact? You think you're going to win a Super Bowl without Devontae Adams? Because I don't think so. You guys might have never even been in the running for a Super Bowl. I mean, you had obviously a good run. You know what I mean? But, there's other teams right now that have more depth across the board. Rams, Buccaneers, and I think the Niners even proved it last year that they don't even need to have, Trey Lance, Jimmy G, some booty-ass quarterback, but they have better coaching and better players overall to go deeper. You know what I mean? You guys have some quality, great players in certain positions, but you don't have the same depth as some of the other top dogs in the NFC. But you do have Aaron, and you do have Aaron Jones, and you have some of these other pieces that are very, very nice. All right, but you can't have just a few pieces. You got to have a team. That's facts. Yep, Chiefs Kingdom. James, how you doing? Yep, the Tony Gonzalez to Atlanta. Yeah, it's shocking. But obviously the writing was on the wall last year. Anytime when they have contracts, that come up, and if you don't get it done right away, there's always a chance for the guy to give up the two fingers and say peace. You know what I mean? And obviously in the offseason, I knew he lived in Miami. When I saw the names come up with the Jets and Miami, I was like, uh-oh. I was like, with everything that's been going on right now, I was like, uh-oh. Because I knew the Jets weren't going to be an option. But obviously Miami with all their draft capital, and you're not going to be able to replace Devontae Adams or Tyreek necessarily right away. But like I was telling you guys earlier, if you end up getting a guy like, DK Metcalf or Tyler Lockett, or if you get a guy in the draft, like maybe a Jameson Williams or a Chris Olave, it'll soften the blow a little bit. And then plus, there's other guys floating around still. OBJ, 1-year contract, maybe Julio Jones, maybe Jarvis Landry, nothing long-term, but maybe something short-term for like a year. That'll help soften the blow a little bit, but, I don't think the run is completely over yet, for the Chiefs Kingdom, but obviously it doesn't look too good at this point today. But we love to overreact. That's what we do, right? We love to overreact all the time. We overreact, on the news, whether it be a free agent or someone getting traded. I mean, it always is like we're over emotional all the time. You know what I mean? And now we just need to let the dominoes fall and see how everything plays out. And instead of winning the division, I mean, you still might have, even with Tyreek, you might have not won the division next year. Maybe Denver just plays great. And obviously Nathaniel Hackett, gets that linkage with Russell Wilson, and they have a first time he's actually have an offensive minded coach. And maybe Denver was going to win the division no matter what, even if Tyreek was there or not. You just slide down the pecking order and then the power ranking board a little bit. But depending on if Jameson Williams comes or Olave, I would be calling, if I'm the Packers and Chiefs, though, I'm definitely calling Seattle for DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett and seeing what they want for those guys. Because if you can get those guys, that'll definitely soften the blow. Because DK Metcalf to the Packers or DK Metcalf to the Chiefs will make you forget a little bit quicker about Tyreek and Davante Adams. That's what I feel. Crazy offseason, though, huh? Yeah, I did see that. Malcolm Butler. I mean, it seems like anytime they get rid of a guy, they always come back, right? Right. And this is the most picks that you guys have had, in the higher end of the draft from like rounds 1 through 5, right? It's not, it's not what you expected. The Raiders got much better. Chargers got much better, who could be the Bengals of last year, this upcoming year. Broncos with Russ. But also, too, the Bengals should be back. We'll see what the Ravens do. There'll be other teams. If Cleveland actually gets Deshaun Watson to play or if he's suspended for 6 to 10 games, I mean, we got to kind of play it all out and see what happens. But, yeah, the AFC is just crazy. But on the NFC side, I mean, it's like Bucks and Rams are at the top. Then you got the Niners and Packers on the next level. And like I said, anything can happen. If the Rams and the Buccaneers play each other early before the NFC Championship game, then there's always an opportunity for the Packers to upset or the Niners to upset one of those teams and make the Super Bowl. It could always happen, but I don't know. I think the Rams and the Bucks right now we're in a great position to try to maximize our opportunity as champions the last 2 years. That's facts. But like I was also saying too before, James, when Tyreek first came in the league, and same thing with Davante Adams. I mean, they weren't really big name guys. They developed over a few years. So there's a chance there'll be other guys that you can develop. Maybe they won't be as good as Davante or Tyreek, but I remember Tyreek first coming in and him being called a bitch boy, from Jalen Ramsey, saying, all you can do is play special teams, bitch boy. Remember, they were almost going to fight. And then he went from a special teams guy, punt returner, kick returner, and then he was pretty much was like, fuck you. And then he's like, I can be a wide receiver 3. Now I'm a wide receiver 2. Now I'm a wide receiver 1. Now I can go up in the high point and catch footballs. Now I'm a good route runner. Now I can, catch the football and have good hands. And it's like Tyreek really worked hard at his game, and Davante did too. Davante had the good chemistry with Aaron, but that little jump step that he got from Doug Baldwin and the route running and the hands and using his body and boxing out. And it's like you really saw these guys develop, but they weren't like immediately coming in like a Megatron where it was like immediate. Like you already knew what was going to happen. It took a couple years. So on the bright side, I mean, Cooper Kupp obviously showed he was the best wide receiver in the game this year, right? But normally it's Davante 1, Tyreek 2. And it shows you even if you have Aaron Rodgers or Patrick Mahomes, sometimes that's not enough, that they're just willing to go where the money is or to go home and play with your college teammate and, go back to maybe the team that you rooted for when you were a kid. So crazy this NFL season though, right? I don't know. Sounds like you didn't have a whole lot of love for the Chiefs Kingdom though. Jim Schwartz should be unemployed. Yeah. I think everyone likes Rasul Douglas. I mean, if you're a real football fan and you know his story wherever he's, landed on your favorite team or on another, if you actually are an NFL head and you read the stories, I think anyone that knows anything about the NFL can really root for Rasul Douglas. His story is one of the coolest out of any NFL player that I've actually covered and read about and followed. Very cool story. Someone just, not knowing if they're even going to be on a team and then working hard, and then finally getting rewarded. I mean, that's what it's all about. Yeah. And I was watching Mark Schlereth today on The Herd, and we were talking about, the offense and, how Andy's a West Coast kid, and maybe shifting to, instead of the deep ball, maybe addressing the running game and maybe getting someone, I'm not saying like a Breece Hall, but if you ended up getting someone at running back, instead of shifting it to wide receiver and trying to do like more of the power game, and if you control the line of scrimmage, you're going to win like 70% of the games. Schlereth is right. So if you can end up controlling the line of scrimmage, it's going to help. So instead of having those deep threats and, having to pay these big wide receivers, the big money, maybe shifting to like the Christian Okoye phase, or the Jamal Charles days where you're kind of pounding the rock a little bit more. And even though they had like the Dwayne Bowe, right, and you had those other guys, in the past, but maybe pounding the rock and changing the identity of the team could really help them get a little bit further. And I kind of like that, because I think that if you can keep building the line, we saw what Creed Humphrey can do. Offensive line started to kind of gel at the right time. But if you can end up being more of a power running team with options at wide receiver and Kelsey, maybe shifting that mindset and shifting that personnel could maybe actually help them instead of trying to relive the past and trying to copycat someone like Tyreek. So I'm thinking with what Schlereth said and what you're saying right here is what kind of I was thinking too. Maybe trying to get a top dog at running back, because obviously the Bills, if they get a top dog running back, they're going to go to a Super Bowl and win. You know what I mean? Offensive line was an issue for the Bengals. Seems like they're starting to shore that up with La'el Collins and Kappa from my Buccaneers and a few others. But maybe shifting over to being a running team first instead of a passing team. And if you can control the line of scrimmage for Pat, maybe that could be like the missing piece to get them a little bit further. And then people will start copying their style. But you got to get someone better than Clyde Edwards-Helaire, because obviously with the fumble problems, they need a Josh Jacobs, a Nick Chubb. They need a they used to have Kareem Hunt. That would have been perfect. But obviously with the issues that he had with the, kicking the girl, obviously in the hotel room security and whatnot, right? But a Jonathan Taylor-ish kind of guy, that would be perfect. So if you can find that guy, whether it's a Breece Hall or someone else, that could be maybe the magic piece that people aren't really thinking about. Also, Adams gone will force Aaron to spread the wealth, which worked well. We'll sign a vet and draft a couple rookies, and we'll be set. But does Aaron really trust the other wide receivers? If you look at all the targets and you watch a lot of the games, he doesn't really feel that comfortable going with other guys besides Devontae. You know what I mean? Yeah, when Bob Tonyan was in, felt comfortable with him. He feels comfortable with him. But with all the other guys, Allen, the Lizard, Lazard, MVS, it was like occasionally, you would go there. But when you have a true number one wide receiver, it's a little different. Yeah, and staying in the pocket could be good, and maybe trying to find that beast running back, and maybe getting a running back by committee, but you're going to have to get good ones. Someone that can run through the tackles, can bounce outside. They're not using Clyde Edwards-Helaire properly, or the way that he can catch the football and where you put him, in the running game. It's like you can't run halfback dive, and then assume that, he's just going to bust one for like 60 yards. It's not really what Clyde Edwards-Helaire does. You know what I mean? If you end up watching what he did at LSU. But maybe getting the running game going and shifting, that kind of personnel package and shifting the mindset, maybe since Tyreek is gone, maybe that could benefit them more than we know. Douglas is a G. I agree with you. I won't agree with you on a lot of things, Joe Fly, but I will agree on that. Yeah, I agree. All right, time to drink some beer. But bottom line, if you like the Packers, you hate the Packers. You love the Chiefs, you hate the Chiefs. This is not easy for those two organizations. I already felt sick to my stomach thinking that I was going to lose Chris Godwin. Because Mike Evans is great, you know what I mean? But when you have certain guys on your team and you know what it takes to win, and you have to have a team and you lose a key component, it's like you're not running on full cylinders anymore. So I'm really happy that we were able to kind of keep the pieces. But I remember going down this route and road myself with like Warren Sapp and John Lynch. And I was like, what the fuck? Raiders? What the fuck? Broncos? Like, why aren't you just staying? But they knew the run was over. You know what I mean? The run was over. Even if Mike Allstott's there or Simeon Rice or Rondé Barber, like the personnel isn't the same. The other players got hurt. More guys want money. And sometimes you just have to keep your guys as long as you can. And we had a good run from 95 to 02. But after we won the Super Bowl, I knew it was done. Like I knew The next year, we would probably be like 7-9, or we'd win like 6 or 7 or 8 games. I just knew there would be a drop off. And I knew that Warren Sapp and some of these other guys would leave. I just prayed that my favorite, Derek Brooks, wouldn't leave, and he didn't. So at least I got to keep him for the whole career. But when Lynch and Sapp left, I was hurt. You know what I mean? I was like, because those are like my favorite guys on defense. It was like Lynch, Brooks, Sapp, Rondé Barber, Simeon Rice, and obviously Mike Allstott on the offense. And if you lose any of those key guys, I mean, it's not easy. It's not an easy pill to swallow. So that's facts. Zachary Adams in the building. What to do? What to do, dude? Of course, Joe Fly. Jameis Ameza in the building. What to do? Zachary Adams, how you doing, man, with the Chiefs news? I know we got a lot of Chiefs Kingdom members in the building, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it. But like I said, even though it doesn't look good on paper with Adams and Tyreek gone, it's not completely over. There's still 2 of the top 10 teams in the NFL, even with those guys gone. You know what I mean? And it took time for those guys to develop. Luckily, there's still a lot of guys that are available for a Band-Aid this year in free agency. OBJ, Julio, Jarvis. They're nowhere near the talent level of Tyreek or Devontae Adams. But in the draft has got some really sneaky guys that could really make names for themselves. Jamison Williams from Bama. He would be the number 1 guy off the board if he didn't tear his ACL against Georgia in the Natty. I like Chris Olave a lot. Garrett Wilson looks like he's got some talent, and you got Treylon Burks. He might be the sleeper. You got Drake London from USC. So there's a lot of guys that you could plug in and get some good results. But it's tough. It's like those. I mean, you have to put yourself in a Chiefs fan shoes or a Packers fan shoes, and you did get something in return. But it all depends on what you get in return. And a lot of times when you get a lot of compensation, if your organization doesn't know how to draft properly, you might not get anyone even close to supplementing the value you got for your superstar. So hopefully, for Kansas City's sake and Green Bay's sake, that you guys actually get a couple pieces out of the multiple draft picks that end up being starters, that end up being studs. You're not going to probably hit it out of the park with a Hall of Famer, but hopefully you get something, rather than nothing. You don't want to just, you obviously got a lot of capital, but as you guys know, sometimes drafting in the NFL is hit or miss, and that's facts. Saigon John in the building. What to do? 5 picks though, right? Crazy. Wide receiver 1, edge, corner. Yeah. And obviously you got L'Jarius Sneed, and you got some pieces there. Juan Thornhill, no Honey Badger. I just really wish Honey Badger would come back. That would stop the bleeding a little bit for Kansas City, but it sounds like there's no way in hell that he comes back to KC. Sounds like that's already a done deal. You know what I mean? And sometimes you do need to get guys in the prime. Just like Joe Fly said, sometimes you do need to get the value in the prime rather than them playing a little bit longer and then getting less for them. Who is fat? No, come on. It's a dumb question. Alex, come on now. Tyreek. We already know Tyreek is one of the fastest in the NFL. That's facts. I actually have a stat on the speed. Let me see if I can find it in my Twitter. All right, but the Dolphins offseason additions, right? Tyreek Hill, Armstead, Chase Edmonds, Cedric Wilson, Connor Williams, Teddy Bridgewater, and Raheem Mostert. It's pretty fucking good, right? If they had someone better than Tua or Teddy Bridgewater, goddamn, you know what I mean? The Cheetah and the Penguin is what they're calling them now. And then teams with multiple first-rounders this year. Lions with 2 and 32. Texans with 3 and 13. Jets 4 and 10. And they didn't even offer 4 or 10 for Tyreek. So I already knew that wasn't going to go through. Giants 5 and 7. Eagles 15, 16, and 19. 3 picks. Packers 22 and 28. And then Chiefs 29 and 30. You know what I mean? And I'm having this kind of feeling that we know Jared Goff sucks, right? Is there a chance that Malik Willis, based off his pro day, goes number 2 overall and they take a chance to have him sit behind Goff for a year instead of going for Aiden or maybe going for Kayvon Thibodeau? If they decide instead of going for the guy from Michigan for Aiden, or if they go for Kayvon, maybe because they already know that the Panthers are looking at Malik Willis at 6 and maybe the Seahawks are looking at him at 9. Is there a chance that the Lions like him enough that maybe they pick him at 2 over a pass rusher. I think it's starting to kind of be a little bit more talk now that even though we think Kayvon Thibodeau or Aiden or maybe Evan Neal, the offensive lineman who should go number 1 overall to the Jags. So it should be like pass rusher, or an offensive lineman. But maybe Malik goes as high as 2. I mean, the Lions are just a clusterfuck of problems, aren't they? But obviously, if they think that Malik could do it, but they have no offensive line and the defense sucks and they don't really have a whole lot of weapons. So it's not like you have him on the team that he's going to be able to really maximize his, his value. But you never know. I like Veach a lot. I think, like I said, I think the Kansas City Chiefs is a top 5 organization as far as the way that they're run. I don't think they're mad. I mean, think about it. You want Tyreek to play disgruntled. You know what I mean? You want him to sit out and whine and cause problems. If a guy wants out, he wants out. And the bottom line is it doesn't matter if Patrick Mahomes is there. And remember, they were like, we're going to win 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Super Bowls after they won the first one. That was a little premature, right? You know what I mean? It looked like the Chiefs were so much better than every other team that they were going to be the new New England Patriots, right? But no one's going to copy New England's success for 20 years because they don't have Brady and they don't have Belichick. But it comes down to the $100 bills that you can see in the background. It's all about money, 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 money. That's what it's about. It's about the money, okay? Just like the $1 Million Man was all about the money, baby. $1 Million Man was all about the money. Hey, look at the belt. That's made out of money, baby. Straight diamonds, you know? So, when it's all about the money, at some point, guys are going to leave, I mean, we know Devontae's a pimp. We know Tyreek is a pimp, all right? But it comes down to the money. And then that was the deciding factor. What a wild offseason, though, huh? It's like the craziest shit ever. Definitely makes for better content, though. Like, we always have something to talk about, right? Like every day, there's always something. Ward, yeah. Ward is not going to be as impactful, though. I mean, and like I said, I think Veach, I mean, like I said, with me and like evaluation of talent, right? No one knew Nick Bolton was going to be as good as he was or Creed Humphrey. You guys hit home runs on those guys, and they're 2 of my favorites on your team. If you guys know me, I'm a linebacker guy. I'm an offensive lineman guy. So to get 2 guys like that people that were slept on, no one knew who they were, and they played so well already earlier in their career. I have 100%, kind of positive vibes knowing that they're going to be able to do good things. So there'll be a run on a lot of wide receivers. Yeah, could be. Right. But it's all speculation right now. It's like, will they put in the call? I imagine the Packers and Chiefs probably already have, because those are like, all right, we don't know about Drew Lock or Malik Willis, or Seattle's rebuilding. And if they can get some picks, for those guys. But if you're the Chiefs and you got picked 29 and 30, you know what I mean? Do you trade one of those picks and then maybe like a second rounder or fourth rounder to get like DK? I mean, or if the Packers did something like that too? I mean, because out of all the wide receivers that are in the draft, Jamison Williams and Treylon Burks and Olave, Garrett Wilson and Drake London, all these guys seem like they can be good, but DK is already kind of proven. So, I mean, would you give up like a first, second, and fourth for a DK Metcalf and then kind of be sitting pretty moving forward? Because, I mean, you can get a wide receiver, they might not pan out or not right away. But if you get DK immediately for the Packers and the Chiefs, you're right back into the Super Bowl conversation. Like nothing happened. If you get DK as a starting lineup, boom, with Kelsey and Mahomes, all is forgiven. Same thing goes for the Packers. If you get DK on the Packers, I mean, the vibe and the mood of Green Bay and Green Bay's fans like Joe Fly or Zachary Adams or anyone else that's in the room, Cyberpunk 53, things are you're feeling a little bit better if you get a guy like that, right? So I'm including my Tennessee Titans. A part of those teams going to go, right? Robert Woods pickup was nice. Robert Woods pickup is nice. Sean C. in the building. What to do? Well, I think originally, it was more of like offensive line and then pass rush. It was either going to be Evan Neal to the Jags, or they were going to go like Thibodeau or Aiden, right, for Michigan, right? But then now, after the pro day, I think now there's a little bit more talk where even though we know Aiden Hutchinson and Thibodeau or Evan Neal would be the smart picks at the top, right? But maybe They think, okay, we already know that the Panthers are going to be looking at him, and maybe we're looking for our future. We know Goff sucks, right? Goff and the Goffense isn't the same with the best friend with Cooper Kupp. That organization's fucked, right? But if they get Malik and he can have some kind of impact, like maybe a Cam Newton had early on for Carolina, and they can build around him and have him sit under Goff for a year or a few games until Goff gets hurt or plays like shit, and then you put Malik in there. It's a risk. I don't know if I would do it as the Lions. I definitely would be going for a pass rusher or offensive lineman instead, but you never know. This NFL is wild. Obviously, we know that the Steelers love him. The Steelers probably love him more than any other team. Obviously, Tomlin and him have kind of a connection. And obviously, Mitchell Trubisky isn't the long-term answer. So if they can have Mitch there and Malik for Pittsburgh, that would be a match made in heaven. Zachary Adams, I mean, who wouldn't want Tyler to get to the door and lock it, right? Everyone wants him. That's facts. Opposing defenses catch up to the top dog's tricks too quickly these days. Adapt or suck. Simple as that. My boy, Zachary Adams. Bang! Let's go. Boom, boom, boom. $20. Thank you, brother. Thank you. I can always count on the Chiefs Kingdom. It's a good day. It's a bad day. I can still count on the Chiefs Kingdom to step up for me. Obviously, Eagles John representing the Eagles, stepping up for me as well. But obviously, we got some Chiefs fans that contribute to the living the lifestyle that I need to be able to live, to be able to survive, grinding it out since I don't have any other side hustles or jobs, dude. Zachary Adams, appreciate you. 135. Let's get to 200, baby. Thank you, Zach. And like I said, I'm not going to sugarcoat the overall damage that was done, to the Chiefs fans and the Packer fans. But like I said, all it's going to take, another $5 dono. There we go, baby. Bang! Chief with a $5. A $5 early on as well. Maybe we get a little dono train going here. But like I said, the thing about the Packers, since they don't have an owner, it irks me. You know what I mean? Because I think some of the decision-making, LaFleur and Gutekunst, I mean, they've done a pretty good job. LaFleur's won so many games, right? But I think that the ownership overall, if they had not the people own the team and they had a single owner, it could be a great thing or it could be a horrible thing depending on who the owner is. But I think that structure is the thing that they're kind of lacking. And maybe if they had an owner, maybe that would have led them to winning a Super Bowl by now, making better decisions with the personnel and everything. But like I said, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, OBJ, Julio Jones, Jarvis Landry. There's going to be some short-term fixes. There's going to be some names that could be long-term fixes. And the draft is very, very good with wide receivers. So we got to kind of wait and see. But Tyreek the freak hill, man. Unbelievable. It's crazy. I know a lot of the Chiefs Kingdom is still pissed. But again, it's not like you got fleeced. Because if you ended up looking at what the Jets were offering, I don't know if anyone has that information. I think I might have saved it on my phone. But the Chiefs getting what they got for the 5 picks compared to what they would have gotten from the Jets, it was a big, big difference. Let me see if I can find it. Maybe Sarah, maybe you have it or you can find it. But say Patrick Mahomes without Tyreek Hill, and it's a Jackson Mahomes picture. I mean, I've seen all the memes and all the GIFs, and then obviously Tyreek Hill. Let me see if I can find it. I'm not sure if I saved it from earlier. And then obviously Malcolm Butler returning to New England on a 2-year deal worth up to $9 million. Obviously with Malcolm Butler, we already knew that was going to happen more than likely. Teams without a 2022 first-round pick: Bears, Broncos, Browns, Dolphins, Colts, Raiders, Niners, Rams. Where is? Okay, here we go. I found it. I found it from Adam Schefter. I knew I saved it. I always like certain tweets and I go back to them to keep them in my file. So that way, if I want to talk about something in the show, I have it. So through Adam Schefter, this is what the trade would have been with the Jets. And you guys would have been fucking pissed. There would have been no Chiefs fans on my stream today if this deal would have went through. And it would have been a better fit for Tyreek with Zach Wilson based on how he plays and the scheme and the play calling. All right. But this is what it would have happened. The Chiefs would have gotten picks number 35, 38, and 69. And then the Jets would have gotten Hill and number 103. All right. So no first round pick there. Okay. Zachary Adams. Bang, baby. Boom, $50. We appreciate all you do, man. I've been following you for about 2 years now. Keep up the good work, man. Another Chiefs Kingdom member, always stepping up. Cyberpunk 53, Holly Hundo, Chief will Chief. I mean, you name it. I mean, the Chiefs Kingdom always represents me very, very thoroughly. thoughtfully, and I can't tell you how much I love you guys and appreciate you guys. But again, Chiefs would have gotten picks 35, 38, and 69. The Jets would have gotten Tyreek Hill and 103. That's a booty trade. That's straight fucking booty, okay? And in return, they ended up getting a first-round pick, number 29, a second-round pick, number 50, a fourth-round pick, and then a fourth and a sixth-round pick. And some of those draft picks for next year could be trade bait, moving up somewhere here or there. But I definitely would have taken what I would have gotten for the capital, with what you got with the Chiefs and the Dolphins, rather than the Jets compensation. The Jets had a 4 and a 10. Could you imagine? They get Tyreek the free kill and they keep their 4th pick and 10th pick. I mean, the Jets are starting. I mean, if you look at the picks of some of these teams that are coming up, I mean, it's getting to a point where, let me go back to my Twitter because I got a lot of the information's saved here. But Tyreek, Armstead, Edmonds. I love Chase Edmonds. All right. Cedric Wilson, Connor Williams, Bridgewater, Raheem Mostert. It's crazy, man. But Tua sucks. So we got to figure that out. But with the multiple first rounders, I mean, who's going to maximize their value? Lions at 2 and 32? Probably not. Texans at 3 and 13? I mean, they're probably going to stick with Davis Mills, and he played decent, right? But, I mean, how good are they going to be? Bang! Another Chiefs Kingdom member. $100. Let's go, baby. Woo! There we go. We've started off very slow in donos the last 3 days. We were about an hour and a half in with that $5. Now we're sitting at, I don't even know what we're at right now, $10 away from 300. Thank you, man. We were at like $20, for like an hour and a half, 2 hours. Then we hit $50. Then we were at $70 yesterday. And thank God for Holly Hundo and Cyberpunk 53. They donated 50 each yesterday, and we ended with 170. Thank you very, very much, man. Jake Paul, Gaming Krebs, Chiefs, $100. We got a Chief Dono train going. It doesn't matter if they end up trading Tyreek the free kill away. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It definitely hurts, but they're still a contender. Packers are still going to be a contender without Devontae. But I think the Chiefs overall, their roster suits them a little bit better. But we got to see if DK, Tyler Lockett, or one of these rookies comes. And if they end up standing out, showing out, and doing something that we think they're going to do, Jameson Williams, Olave, you're not going to be worrying about Tyreek and Devontae as much as if you didn't get those kind of guys. Shout out to you guys, man. There we go. Zachary Adams, Chiefs Kingdom in the building. $20. Bang. $5 from Chief Will Chief, another Chiefs Kingdom member. Zachary Adams again. Bang. $50. Appreciate you. I've been watching you for about a couple years now. And then Jake Paul gave me crabs $100. Every one of them, Chiefs Kingdom in the building. I think Veach will come through. I think with him, for me, as far as like guys that run organizations, we know Mickey Loomis for the Saints does a good job. I know my Tampa Bay Buccaneers have a good organization, but I think out of all the organizations in the NFL, I think with Veach, that's like top 3, top 5. I mean, the Chiefs are always run the right way. And obviously, if they could have kept Tyreek there, I think that's what ideally they wanted to do. You think Patrick Mahomes wants to lose Tyreek? You think Kelsey wants to lose Tyreek? You think any of those other guys wants to lose? There we go. Now we got a Tennessee Titan one getting in on the dono train. Bang! Jameson Meza. Appreciate you, brother. Let's go. Let's go. Bang, 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 bang. Let's go, baby. Let's go. I've been dealing with a lot lately, so being able to hang out, talk sports helps out a lot. And you show up more often. If you can donate, cool. If you can, like I said, we always have goats that are going to step up. But thank you for stepping up today. And like I said, we have a lot of Chiefs Kingdom members that support the channel heavy. I mean, out of all the fan bases, the Chiefs support me the most out of any fan base on YouTube. That's facts. Thank you so much, man. And like I said, if you are going through some tough times, you can always come through and hang out. Vikings were second in sacks at 51 without Danielle Hunter. Now they got Zadarius Smith. Now if they stay healthy, the duo is going to be gross. Not only gross, but you got rid of Zimmer. All right, you already got Dalvin Cook. You got Kirk Cousins. You got Justin Jefferson. All right, hit the gritty. You already got Adam Thielen. This team is ready to take over the Packers. I just don't know if it's going to be with Kevin O'Connell year one because the O-line still needs work and the defense needs a little bit more. But Harrison Smith's not getting any younger, but if you look at the squad, it's starting to kind of come together, and I wouldn't be shocked one bit if the Vikings win the NFC North this year. As good as the Packers may be, if they lose Devontae Adams, get a replacement, I get it, but I think the Vikings, Zimmer needed to go. And I think with those pieces, Dalvin Cook is kind of injury prone, but I think the Vikings are that sleeper team in the NFC. No one's talking about them. Don't be shocked if they win the NFC North year 1 or year 2. Sean C., you're on it, man. You are on it, baby. Jameson Mesa, bang! $10. Another great stream talking these crazy NFL news days. Once again, love hanging out with the NWSF gang. Thank you, man. And it shows you just like that, in a matter of a minute or two, we can be sitting at $5, $10, $50, and all of a sudden you get one person showing love with Zachary Adams, just a couple minutes ago at 8:02, right? Boom. That leads from 20. That leads to Chief throwing a $5. Then Zach says, you know what? I haven't been here in a while. Let me show a little bit more love. Another 50 on top of that. Then Jake Paul Gamey Crabs is working, right? He's like, fuck it, let me throw down a little bit here. I didn't donate last time I was in the room. And then Jameson Mays is like, I want to hop on that fucking dono train. And then all of a sudden we look at the donos and we're sitting at 10, 20, $30. Now we're at $300. Thank you. And anytime that people donate heavy to me, like I said, that's going to be more, obviously things that I can give back to the fans. Like obviously Xavier Williams and Shepard Williams are next on the list. And then I got a few other people like Jake Paul Gamey Crabs, Eagles John, and a few others. But Zachary, thank you so much for starting the dono train. And then obviously Jake Paul Gamey Crabs, Jameson Mesa, Titans, and everyone. Tian Jose, he's like, fucking don't forget about me, baby. Let me get in on the action. Bang! Pat's in the house, $5. Thank you, man. And dono trains are like Uncle Mo and Uncle Momentum. We already know Peter Schrager loves Uncle Mo, Uncle Momentum, because he stole it from me twice and made it his own on Good Morning Football, tried to show off in front of Kay Adams and obviously Kyle Brandt and whoever else was in the fucking room, right? But his delivery of Uncle Mo, Uncle Momentum, they didn't get it because you stole it from me and you don't have the same kind of passion and understanding of what Uncle Mo really is. So shame on you, Peter Schrager, you fucking weasel, all right? I don't even watch that goddamn show anymore. I mean, it was good when Nate was on it, but Nate's no longer on it. It's not as good as it was. I'll watch Colin. I'll watch The Herd. I'll watch Pat McAfee show. Those are the ones that I enjoy the most right now. The Herd with Colin and Joy Taylor, and I like watching Pat McAfee show. I'll still watch Good Morning Football a little, but I will definitely never sit through 3 hours of that again. That's facts. Don't forget, Chiefs Kingdom, we tendered Jody Fortson and Derek Gore, both solid players. Big facts. I really like Gore too, but you still need someone better. And just imagine if you guys would have drafted Jonathan Taylor instead of Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I think Andy and some of the organization wanted Jonathan Taylor, but Bieniemy wanted Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Could you imagine where your team would be right now with Jonathan Taylor? You guys might have won the Super Bowl last year. It's like no cap. But now the Colts got him, and it's a good thing for Matt Ryan and everything moving forward. And I'm really hoping that the Colts and the Titans can really surprise a lot of people. They're flying under the radar like they always do. And I'm rooting for those two teams also to have good, successful seasons. Chiefs fans are going through all the grieving process. I'm at the acceptance stage with a little depression. But at least, with me, I don't have to sugarcoat it and say, oh, you guys are going to be completely fine. Tyreek's not that good of a player. It doesn't matter. Devontae leaving the Packers, not a big deal. It is a big deal. You know what I mean? But at least you got compensation that was kind of what you would want for a player that big. I mean, think about it. 5 picks for a fucking wide receiver. If this was 10 years ago, you never would be able to hear something like that. I mean, even if it was like a Megatron or a Larry Fitzgerald, like 5 picks is a lot. And at least you got some first rounders and second rounders. Imagine if they would have given you like 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, you'd be pissed. You know what I mean? So at least you ended up getting someone where at the end of the first round, you guys could double up at wide receiver, even though the Chiefs won't, or maybe trade one of those picks at like 29 or 30 and move up like 4 or 5 picks and get Olave. But I'm telling you, if the Chiefs get Olave, you guys are going to fall in love with the kid. Same thing with Jameson Williams. Unless you get DK Metcalf or Tyler Lockett, we're going to have to kind of wait and see. But yeah, appreciate you guys very, very much. 300 in donos, baby. Let's get to 400. And like I said, with a snap of a finger, we can be at $50, $100, 200, 300, 400. And shit, we broke the record. It seems like we break records on every Thursday. And we hit 1,320. Obviously, that's the record, which is fucking insane. And we did that on a Thursday night. So I'll be back tomorrow as well. Tian Jose, Pat's in the house, baby. Appreciate you, brother. Shout out to all the goats in the room. And not all the goats are here. Some of the goats were here. Some of the goats were left. But that's a good thing now with me hustling and grinding and just making sure that I can give you guys a good show, give you guys some good HD pictures, somewhere where we can just hang out and talk. And no one else is really doing late night streams like me. So I'm giving you a place where you can go after school, after work, after a good day or a bad day, where we can just hang out. There's going to be some trolls. There's going to be some haters. But it's always a fun chat to be in, regardless if we have 8 people, 18, 28, 38. I mean, we're never going to have a big number. as of right now. Maybe we'll get to a point where we can have 20 or 30 or 40 consistently, but it shows you with 8 or 9 people in the room, we can still end up having a fun time and have incredible donations come in, and a lot higher than any other fucking YouTuber that has 9 people in the room. I tell you that. There's no one else out there that can have 8 or 9 people in the room and hit over 300. That's facts. Shout out to you guys, the best fans on planet Earth, the Fanatic family. Gang, gang, gang. I know you'll be back, but you need to get your job first underway, and then you can start off with that like $5, donation right at the very beginning. So you get your job shit squared away, and then we'll get on there. Jump on the dono train, the dodo train, the dono train. Jump on it, baby. Let's go. Chief will chief. And that's one thing about me too. Even though I'm a Buck fan, I'm actually a fan of all 32 teams. So when we talk about players and you come here to this stream, it's not like a Chief channel or a Patriot channel or a Packer channel where they primarily only go over in depth and deep dive for their team. You're going to get the deep diving on every team, even the Jags or the Lions. And I don't think you get that on any other really stream on YouTube anywhere else, because I really do put in a lot of fucking work compared to some of the other channels that are out there. That's big facts. Tien Jose with another $1. Bang! Appreciate you, brother. Every dollar counts as well. Mahomes wanted CEH over Swift. Yeah. You like watching Joy Taylor? That's about on that. Yeah. Well, Colin is one of those guys. The reason why I like Colin, and a lot of people, I'll rather watch Colin over Stephen A. or Skip. I watch Skip and Shannon once in a while because they argue, but Colin is from Oregon. All right. He started off as a sports guy on like Channel 8. You know how you have like a local weatherman and a local sport guy? Colin was the local sport guy for me growing up. So I already knew him, back then. And then he worked hard, and he built himself up. And the one thing about Colin that I really like is delivery. If you listen to his tonality and the way that he talks, he's so good at his tonality, pausing, and, just being able to keep the flow of a show. He does his show in the way that he talks almost better than anyone else that's out there. Pat McAfee's show is great because obviously he's real and he's got the boys with him. It's raw. It's uncandid. He can swear. He can wear the tank tops like me and the cutoffs. I love it, right? It's raw. It's real. It's uncut like me. I'm not going to sugarcoat shit. I'm going to swear. We're going to be able to have a good time, right? I love Pat McAfee's show. But with Colin, for a show that's on TV, he's going to have opinions that you don't necessarily agree with. But when you watch him and Joy, they got good chemistry together. And like I said, I've always, I've never always been a huge fan of Colin, but I had to switch to something else. Because after Good Morning Football fucked me over with Peter Schrager stealing my material and Nate left, I had to find a replacement for Good Morning Football. So if it wasn't going to be just Skip and Shannon, I had to find another show. So I've started to be able to commit to Colin on TV and then Pat McAfee show on my phone. And I'll watch those kind of at the same time. And that's big facts. 306 and donos, baby, and then Chief will chief. Bang! Uncle Mo is real. Shout out to Ryan. I can't look Peter the same anymore like I used to. He seems a lame now. Seriously, though, right? Because the thing is everyone thinks that he's so smart, right? He's like that guy that digs deeper and deeper with the information. He's like that nerd, right? That just knows everything. He reads and he does the website thing like me, and he has all these inside connections, and he's always telling you these deep diving stories. But now you're starting to find out, is he really that smart, or is he just stealing material off people that are smaller than him on YouTube, thinking he's not going to get called out or caught? And then he tries to relay that information to Kay Adams, relay that information to Kyle Brandt, Nate when he's there, or someone like D'Angelo Hall or Chris Carter, and it's like, I can't watch the show anymore. And he stole it from me twice, right after the Chiefs and the Bengals, when they played each other, right? Did the Uncle Mo in the first 20 minutes of the show. And then about a week later, he did it again. It's like this mysterious figure, Uncle Mo. And they're like, what's that? Uncle Momentum. It's like, bro, no one talks about Uncle Momentum, Uncle Mo. That's my thing. Now, anyone that knows me knows that I made that up, just like Sack Lunch, Yum, 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 and some of these other, catchphrases that I've come up with or custom nicknames. And you can't tell me that he just came up with it on his own one day. So it shows you, you can have not a lot of subscribers, not a lot of people in the room, but you're going to have people like EA Sports put Madden Sack Lunch in the video game from my channel. Peter Schrager watches this channel and steals material from me. That's kind of sad. You know what I mean? But it shows you a lot of these guys, they don't got it. You know what I mean? They got to be able to see what's hot in the streets. And I guarantee Schrager watches Grossi, me, maybe even Sports Fury, or some of the people that are hot in the streets, because they want to see what the people are relating to, the fans, what they relate to. Because a lot of times as fans, when we watch people on TV or in podcasts, we can't relate to them. They're either like some like old white dude, that's like 80 years old, and we can't relate to this guy. He's like just way like grandpa, or whatever. Or you get someone that's got an annoying voice, or you get someone like Jason Witten that played, in the NFL, but that's horrible on the mic, or like a Booger McFarland that's a fucking idiot. Even though he was on my Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Booger McFarland would be like, when the other team scores more points, they're ahead and they win the game. It's like, dude, you got all these options for people that you could have on the mic, and you choose that guy. You know what I mean? But that's how it goes. Some guys are better than others. We'll see what Greg Olsen does this season. A lot of guys are shifting over. I'm not really fans of Joe Buck and Troy Aikman. I do like Jim Nantz, and I do like, obviously, Tony Romo. I love Gus Johnson the best, but I can't watch that show anymore. I mean, it's one thing if he was going to shout me out, right? But of course, when you're a big name like Peter Schrager, you're not going to be like, oh, I was on Northwest Sports Fanatics, 20,000 subscribers, and I saw this thing about Uncle Mo, and I want to go over it with you guys. Of course, he's just going to steal it, act like it's his own. But it's just kind of funny that I don't watch that show in entirety every day. I used to, like all 3 hours. But for whatever reason, I just had this weird feeling to watch on those 2 particular days. So he might have been stealing it a lot longer, but I'm pretty sure those were the first 2 times that he mentioned Uncle Mo, Uncle Momentum. And he did it in the first 30 minutes of the show, which I ended up catching. And I ended up sending him a tweet. He didn't respond. He didn't block me. But I was like, bro, you're so unoriginal, dude. I was like, I made that up. You can at least shout me out. But obviously, when you're a big name like that, they have no pride. It's all ego. They're not going to be like, oh, I watched this guy on YouTube talking about Uncle Mo. Let me go over it with you guys. And then, and obviously he tried to do his own rendition of Uncle Mo, Uncle Momentum, and Kay Adams and fucking Kyle Brent didn't get it. You know what I mean? They're like, Uncle Mo, the Three Stooges, they're fucking stupid. They don't understand fucking anything. But it is what it is. I don't have any respect for that show anymore. And hopefully Kay gets replaced and they put Colleen Wolfe in the head chair. And if Colleen Wolfe ends up being the head person there, which she should be, she should have never got replaced from obviously on the NFL Network when they had some of the other shows. They got MJ Acosta Ruiz. She's good, but she's not Colleen Wolfe. But Colleen Wolfe does Good Morning Football on the weekend. If Kay goes off, her contract's up pretty soon. They get Colleen Wolfe in there, I'll watch again. But if it ends up not being Colleen Wolfe, I'll probably not watch on a regular basis. I got to go towards something else. Peter Schrager, you are a weasel. I have no respect for you. I will never watch a show like you ever again. And it shows you. It doesn't matter if you're a big YouTuber or small. People are always having social media teams or always digging on YouTube to see what's going on. And, whether he wants to give me the proper love or not, they're watching. They're watching. James, he says, Skip sucks. All he talks about is Cowboys and Brady and Trash. Yeah, but also it's by design, right? Because obviously he's the crazy one, right? And Shannon is the real one. And it's all by design. Just like all the Bachelor, the Bachelorette, all the shit is fake. It's already predetermined. It's all organized already. That's why I can't watch a lot of shows that are like that. Big Brother and all that other bullshit. You know what I mean? It's like, it's all predetermined. And people love fighting. People love seeing people knocked out. People love seeing people act like a fool. People love seeing people being ignorant. People just love that shit. World Star, you know what I mean? People love the ignorant, dumb shit. The 5 seconds of fame, doing whatever it takes to be famous for 5 seconds. You know what I mean? They don't really have a lot of respect for the grinders like me that'll keep grinding it out. And I'm not trying to get 5 seconds of fame. I'm trying to build a legacy. But it's just kind of funny when you get these guys that are so famous and they're so well respected. They can't even come up with their own catchphrases or their own material. They have to go to YouTube and steal shit from me. Pretty funny, man. Tien Jose with $1. Bang, 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 bang. 327, baby. Let's go. Let's go. Tien Jose, bang! Another $3. Tien Jose emptying out his bank account for your boy. Appreciate you, brother. Sean C, $5. I keep seeing Stingley Jr. for Vikes at 12. Am I wrong to be underwhelmed with that pick? I feel like trading up for the impact for Sauce is the play. Sean C, so if you are a Vikings guy, this is kind of how I play it out. I mean, I do research on all the players in the draft. I mean, last year I think I hit 15 out of the first 17. And the only one I got wrong was the Jamar Chase and obviously the Penei Sewell, because I thought they might go that route. And I got a lot of the other ones right. And I got more right than anyone else on TV or on podcasting. Even some of the ones like J.C. Horn on the Panthers, and a lot of people didn't pick that. But I think right now, if you're the Vikings, Stingley could go like 10, to the Jets. And obviously he could be like a Jamal Adams at the safety position, a baller, pro bowler. Stingley could be, that guy. He's going to be ranked up there. But also a lot of those LSU guys, sometimes they get hurt on the defensive end. They're not going to stay healthy all the time. Kyle Hamilton at safety from Notre Dame, I like more than Stingley, but Stingley's a corner and Hamilton's a safety, right? But if I'm looking at the Vikings, Sauce Gardner, baby. Amon Gardner, Sauce Gardner. Even if you had a choice, between Stingley or Gardner, I'm going Sauce. Sauce seems like he's just got the juice. He's got the sauce. Obviously, Stingley, he's got the swag too. He's got the drip. He's from LSU, so he's got a lot of confidence in himself. But I think that it might fall into your lap. I think Stingley might end up going first. At least you better hope so. And he'll go at 10 to the Jets, and then at 12 you pick up Sauce, and that's what you want. You know what I mean? But also, like I said, with those picks, we're talking about some quality players between Stingley, Hamilton at safety, the best safety in the draft, and then Sauce Gardner, Amon Gardner. But I'm really big on Cincinnati guys this season. I like Desmond Ridder for the Colts, maybe in the 3rd, 4th, 5th round, wherever he falls to. Maybe he's the 4th or the 5th guy picked, as far as the quarterbacks are concerned. But I love Ridder and I love Sauce Gardner. But Sean C., I think you hit it right on the head. I wouldn't want Stingley at 12. He'll be gone at 10, hopefully. And then if he's not there, and it's still between Stingley or Sauce Gardner at 12, I go Sauce. That's my personal feeling. And I think you probably feel the same way. I mean, I've watched a lot of film. Stingley's great. Sauce is great too. But if I had to choose one or the other, I'm going that route. But it's almost like J.C. Horn and obviously we know from last year with the Denver Broncos. You know what I mean? You had two guys, Patrick Surtain, Jr., right? You had him, Patrick Surtain, right? Him or J.C. Horn. If J.C. Horn didn't get hurt, I think that he would have balled out as well and impacted the game the same way that Patrick Surtain did as well. So, I mean, they're both going to be quality players, but sometimes you just have a feeling of what you want your team to represent, and the Vikings are coming. And I think that, for me, it's a better natural fit. You guys don't typically go for LSU guys, so I think that, the Cincinnati, the Bearcats, going to Minnesota Vikings, it just seems like a little bit more of a fit, and that's where I would go too. That's big facts. What's that? What? Oh, did you get it right? Nice. You're good at the Wordle. Girlfriend downloaded the Wordle because she's always doing like puzzles. And I told her she'd be really good at it, right? Wordle is like a, Trevor Noah and a lot of people on Comedy Central. Everyone talks about Wordle. I don't do it. But I told my girlfriend, I was like, do Wordle. You're always doing puzzles and word things. She literally has gotten the Wordle right every time, like 7 times in a row. And you get 6 chances to guess a 5-letter word. And she's literally gotten it right every time. If it was me, I probably wouldn't have, been able to get it within 6 tries. But some people are great at those puzzle games, and she's definitely good at that. Sean C., my boy, $5. Appreciate you, brother. $3.35. Sean C. So your show is awesome, by the way. Appreciate it. 10 years. 10 years grinding, brother. You know what I mean? And I'm really getting hated on, by YouTube and pretty much everybody else. A lot of the others are getting a lot more views. They get their channel pushed. They get a lot more subs. But I think with me, it shows you I don't have to have a lot of people in the room. I can have 20 people or less. I can still make amazing donos, have great conversations. And obviously, I'm a trendsetter. I'm a game changer. There's a lot of people out there that can do a show, but no one's going to do a show like me. I'm always going to give you, the HD photos. I'm going to give you something that you're not going to get somewhere else. And it seems like at some point, you're going to get other people that are going to copy my swag and they're going to copy the style. You know what I mean? Because no one else does a show like me. I'm the only one. I'm often imitated, never duplicated. And I put a lot of hard work in. This is 10 years in, into the grind, 10 years in of, the love and the grind, the passion. I had my partner quit on me. I've had depression. I've had anxiety. I've had a lot of shit that I've gone through, but I've never quit. I've never quit. I've kept going forward. And like I said, you got to have a good voice. You got to have passion. You got to have energy. You have to have dedication. You have to be able to have, have that grind and that love for the game. And like I said, having someone like you come through and say something like that really does mean a lot. And as you can see, with 12 people in the room, you can go to any other YouTube channel out there. I guarantee you ain't going to see $3, $4, $5, $6, $7, $8, $9, $1,000 in donos anywhere else. And we've hit all these record-breaking numbers: 640, 672, 1,020, 1,320 with less than 20 people in the room. It's fucking unheard of. You know what I mean? And tomorrow is the day because Thursday is usually the record-breaking day. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. But shout out to Sean C. And I think that's another thing, too, that people can respect me because I'm not just a Buccaneer fan, and let alone I'm not a Brady bandwagon. I've been watching football since '85. I'm 39, even though I may look like I'm in my 20s or early 30s, but I follow all the teams as if they were my own. So I really take a lot of pride into the information in the film study, and I put a lot more work behind the scenes than I think any other YouTuber out there. And I never have any notes. You know what I mean? It's just pretty much freestyle. I go after it. But we have the most amazing fans on planet Earth in here, and I just want to keep growing the brand. And like I said, me and Grossi are supposed to collab, next year. We were supposed to collab for the Packers and the Bucks at the NFC Championship game. So I know once we collab for Packers Bucks next year in the regular season, I'm going to have a huge uptick on views, subs, probably donos. Everything will probably go up from there. But I don't mind working hard for myself to get to that point. But I know once that collab happens, I'm not part of Clickbait Sports, you know what I mean? But I feel that if they were going to add a 6th member, I would be very, a good person to consider, to get to that point. They already got Perna, they got Grossi, they got Scooter Magruder, 5 Point Vids, you know what I mean? They got a urinating tree, all those different fan bases. You got Grossi with Packers, Perna with Broncos, Scooter Magruder with Cowboys, urinating tree with the Steelers, and 5 Point Vids with the Giants. Hey, NWSF, Bucks, you know what I mean? And this makes sense, you know what I mean? But they don't know who I am, you know what I mean? They rated my channel in October. Grossi got me 620 in donos in like 45 minutes. Got me like 400 subs to make up for when my partner quit on me. And then I got a future collab too, which is kind of weird because most of the time when they rate a channel, the fans of Grossi don't say, you need to actually collab with this guy. I've seen a lot of the raids that they've done. It's usually for smaller channels. So that was really cool that they kind of treated me that way, that they're so hardcore for Tom. But they were like, I like this guy. And they were only listening to me for about 30 minutes to 40 minutes. But they made up their mind that they're like, okay, this guy's good enough to actually be on your level. And I think I've earned it. So it feels good, man. It feels good. Sean C., I appreciate you very, very much, brother. So I just don't like his production after his freshman year. You're talking about Stingling? Yeah, but when you're LSU and you got that name recognition, sometimes, the offensive guys, we already know, like with the wide receivers, OBJ, Jarvis Landry, Justin Jefferson. We'll see what Terrence Marshall Jr. does, obviously with the Panthers. And then the defense, you got guys like Honey Badger, and there's a few other guys. Devin White, one of my favorites of all time, right? But some guys get hurt. Some guys get hurt. And, sometimes, like Delpit. Remember Delpit? No one talks about Delpit anymore. Grant Delpit, he's on the Browns. He was stud. But he got hurt. And a lot of those LSU guys that play corner and safety, they get fucking hurt a lot. You know what I mean? And you can't really count on the D lineman that much. But like every once in a while, you'll get that gem, Devin White. And I capitalized on that. That's my favorite player in the NFL, Devin White. So, and I'm a Derek Brooks guy. So I'm a linebacker guy first. I'm a defensive guy first, offensive line guy second. I don't think you really see that often. Everyone else that I know as far as fans, they love quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, tight ends. They don't really have the love for defense first like me. That separates me from everyone else, as well as offensive line and, kickers and punters and placeholders is giving you something a little bit different. Sean C., I appreciate you, brother. Oh, barbecue. And I'm a fatty and I love food too, so I'm all about the food. Yeah, but obviously the research and, my favorite thing is to read. And a lot of people don't like to read anymore. And I love reading and doing the research and watching film. Like, obviously, right now, I got week 2, 2021. We got Vikings 33, Cardinals 31. And a lot of times people don't get the enjoyment of watching an old game from last season, but I do. Because usually when I watch games, I'll watch them usually twice if I can. One, the first time I'll watch quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end like you guys do, right? The second time I watch it, I watch the offensive line specifically, the center, the guards, the tackles. Are they pancaking? Are they pulling? Are they giving up sack lunches? What are they doing out there? And then I watch the defense, with the leaders, watching, the linebackers or whoever's, controlling the defense. I like watching that aspect of the game. And when you watch the defense first, or the O-line first, and you put your eyes there first, rather than the quarterback, running back, wide receiver, or tight ends, you see the game so much differently. Then you can get a real appreciation for what the O-line, the big hog mollies up front, what they do, as well as the defensive guys and what they do as well. Zone, man-to-man. Are they playing nickel, dime? Are they playing cover 2, Tampa 2? Are they slacking back and they're playing quarters? Like, what are they doing? So it's kind of cool to see the bump and run and see that different aspect. And I give you that different type of feel of football than most people don't really talk about. That's facts. You guys are awesome, man. Appreciate you. Look at that, man. 2 hours and 37 minutes in. Last couple streams have been a little, on the light end starting off, but we always finish strong. We started off a little slow again for the 3rd day in a row. No worries. All it takes is one person to start the dono train, and then boom, 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 boom. And then we're at what are we at right now? I don't even know what we're at. We're at 300 something, 400 something. But I'll tell you what, it is kind of flattering that Madden stole my sack lunch and put it in the video game. I can handle that. It would have been cool to get like a check, or some kind of recognition of my name in the game if they're going to steal that. But of course, they're not going to do that. But the Peter Schrager thing, I will never let that go. I will never let that go, because it's like when he tried to talk about it like he created it right there. Like he was so smart that he just created Uncle Mo just like on the top of his head. Like he's just like some fucking genius, I cannot respect someone like that, especially as someone that I know works as hard as him. He cut corners and tried to, make himself look good, and then he got caught. You know what I mean? He probably never thought that I would have actually seen him talk about it. You know what I mean? But obviously, me being a hardcore fan, obviously watching Pat McAfee and Good Morning Football and doing my due diligence with Skip and Shannon and The Herd, of course I'm going to fucking see it at some point. Or if I don't see it, the fans are going to tell me about it. You know what I mean? But it just so happens that I caught him both those times too. What are we sitting at? 335? Get paid with Kyle. He said he'll beating and choking his pregnant girl. Glad the Jets didn't get him. Right, you can say that now, but bottom line, when you have a talent level like a Tyreek, right, or Deshaun Watson, let's be honest, a lot of fan bases don't give a shit. You know what I mean? They don't give a shit whether it be a Ray Lewis thing where he murdered someone, or maybe it was self-defense, maybe it wasn't. You know what I mean? Or you get someone like Kareem Hunt kicking some girl in the hallway and, on the surveillance, or Ray Rice punching somebody like the girl in the fucking elevator. I mean, a lot of that shit is fucking horribly insane. That should never fucking happen. All right. Alvin Kamara with his boys, in the elevator, beating that guy up, to a fucking pulp and stomping on his head when he's fucking unconscious. I mean, there's just like a lot of this immature, dumbass behavior. But when you're, one of the top guys in the NFL, you should know better. But a lot of times these guys are drunk, or they're just, high, or they're just with their boys and they have something to prove or whatever. And, it's one of those things. I mean, some people like me, we care about that shit and we don't want that. But bottom line, get paid with Kyle. If you're a Jets fan, right, and you got Tyreek, you're not talking about this statement right here. You're like, we got Tyreek Hill. No one's bringing up this. You know what I mean? Maybe the Miami Dolphins fans are bringing it up, and say, oh, I'm glad we didn't get him. But I don't think really a lot of fans care. They care about wins. They care about Super Bowls. For me, I care about the guy on and off the field. So like with Jameis Winston, the reason why I'm not really a big fan of him is because of his immaturity. The shit that he did at Florida State, the groping of the girl, of the the fucking Uber driver when he was trying to go get a burrito and he was groping her. Like, who the fuck does that, dude? Someone that feels that they're entitled and that's immature. You know what I mean? And so it's like, yeah, he's a good fit with the Saints, but I don't think I would want him back on the Bucs unless he matured. But some guys just never mature. They have that, the entitlement. I'm number one pick. I could have played baseball. I'm Kyler Murray. I could play baseball. I could play football. I could be in FaZe Clan. I could be with FaZe Rug. You know what I mean? Everyone has that entitlement, it seems like. You know what I mean? Jake Paul gave me crabs. Get paid. You should probably listen to the tapes before you say shit like that. Yep. Jake Paul gave me crabs. And it's easy to say that after the fact when you don't get a guy. But then if you do get a guy, do you think it comes up at all? If the Jets get him, you think this comes up at all? No one gives a shit. Yeah, I do. A lot of people do give a shit about that type of stuff. But a majority of fans, especially if your team hasn't been good in a while, they only care about wins and trying to get to the Super Bowl. Deshaun Watson, supposedly not guilty, 20 different females. I have a hard time believing that he didn't do anything wrong with 20 different women. And the Cleveland Browns fans, do you think they give a shit? I know some of them do, that they're giving up their season tickets and they don't want that to represent their city or their town or their state or their football team. But a lot of Cleveland Brown fans, they don't give a fuck. They're like, all right, we got Deshaun Watson. I don't give a shit if he's a criminal or not, or a fucking sexual abuser or a fucking raper. He's like, I don't give a fuck. If we're going to get to a fucking Super Bowl or AFC championship game, we're the Cleveland Browns. We fucking stink. And now we got Deshaun Watson. And they would rather run with that than maybe a guy like Baker. Obviously, Baker is limited. Even if Baker does things by the book, they don't give a shit. It's all about wins, all about money. A lot of this other shit is not important to a lot of people. Not everyone, but a lot of people. I have certain standards for players. You know what I mean? Like Ken Griffey Jr. is my favorite player. He's my hero besides my dad, is because he played the game the right way. He didn't do steroids. He didn't do HGH. He played 10 great years, 10 injured years. He got fat and then he walked away. And he's known as maybe the best left-handed hitter with the best swing of all time. I met him at 7, his rookie year. It's my hero. Got his autograph, met King Griffey Sr., and I met Sandy Koufax at 10. And that's really the reason why I am NWSF and I'm a Northwest Sports Fanatics. I made, my dreams come true, meeting my hero at 7, even though it was before any game that he played in the major leagues. I knew he was going to be a legend. And then I met Sandy Koufax at 10, which was my dad's hero. And my dad's been a Dodger fan since the 50s. So it's all depends on the guys that you look up to. And sometimes people push that bullshit under the rug. You know what I mean? Whether it's fair or not fair, but, it is what it is. Absolutely, dude. NFL Blitz. Madden, you don't know how many stories I've heard of people saying, you know what? I love the Bucks. Who didn't, dude? Warwick Dunn, Mike Allstott, Sapp, Brooks, Lynch. Like if you played with the Bucks like in the early 2000s on Madden, it was fun. They were always good. You know what I mean? Obviously, the quarterback could have been a little bit better, but even when we had Brad Johnson, right? You had Joe Juravicious, pretty good player. Keenan McCardell, pretty good player from Jacksonville to Tampa, right? Pretty good player. Then you had Keyshawn Johnson, a fucking mouthy talker, right? Not as good as T.O., right? But he talked like T.O., but he came up with a lot of big third downs for me. Ken Dilger from the Colts at tight end, Jeff Christie at center. But it was really all about the guys on the defense, and then Mike Allstott and Warwick Dunn. And then when they moved on from Warwick Dunn, then we had Michael Pittman. So, I mean, we had an amazing team. We had an amazing team, and that Super Bowl 37 team will always go down as my favorite team of all time. No disrespect to the team. 2 years ago when we won Super Bowl 55 against the Chiefs, that team was great too, but it doesn't compare to that first one, with all those legends. It's like Sapp, Hall of Famer, Brooks, Hall of Famer, Lynch, Hall of Famer, Rondé, Hall of Famer, Simeon Rice, borderline Hall of Fame, and Mike Allstott, Hall of Fame. I mean, it's normally you don't have 5, 6, 7 Hall of Famers on your team. And obviously with this current team from 2 years ago, I mean, you had Brady, you had Gronk, Devin White, Levante David, Tristan Wirfs. There's going to be quite a few Hall of Famers once the careers are over. When you go back and look at that team in Super Bowl 55 against the Chiefs, we probably have 5, 6, 7 Hall of Famers on that team also. That's facts. I know. I love Derek Brooks. Darius Leonard is great too. That's big facts. Shout out to all the GOATs in the room. 335, just like that. You know what I mean? All it takes is just one person to start the dono train, and then we're there. But shout out to everybody in the room. And then obviously as we were going over, some of the stories, we can kind of do a recap of kind of earlier in the week. Let's see, how far do I want to go back? We can go back a little bit. So we'll go back with the Fletcher Cox signing, you know what I mean? Because I got all the photos all queued up. And then obviously we know he got cut, then he came back. Then the Deshaun Watson story, right? Which is crazy. We didn't know if this guy was going to be on the Falcons or the Saints or the Panthers. And then lo and behold, he ends up going to the Browns. Juju Smith-Schuster, we saw what he was able to do, get the 1-year deal with the Chiefs. And now that's looking pretty good since obviously Tyreek is no longer there. Robert Woods, Bobby Trees going to the Tennessee Titans. I love that move. Matthew Stafford getting an extension, which he should, prove that he can do it on any level. Amari Cooper, when he got traded to the Browns, he's like, fuck my life. I got Baker Mayfield. Oh, man. He's like, my career's over. I got Baker. I'm not going to score anything in fantasy, right? I'm not going to do anything. But then he ended up getting another guy. I mean, we don't know if he's going to get suspended or not, but that looks a lot better moving forward for him. All right, Logan Ryan on my Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I love that. Cordarrelle Patterson re-signing with Atlanta. Maybe he doesn't re-sign if he knows Matty Ice leaves. Julio Jones floating in the wings. He's floating. Where is he going to go? Green Bay, Tampa Bay, Indianapolis. We're not too sure. Then we got the Matty Ice news to the Colts, Mariota to the Falcons. We love Matty Ice. Very professional. I'm excited for him. Hopefully he does a good job. Excited for Mariota, but guess what? You don't really have a whole lot of weapons there, so there's a good chance that he fails. Jameis Winston, I mean, there was no other team that he could go to. I mean, obviously, he's got the chemistry there, so we'll see what famous Jameis can do. Then we get my guy, Lombardi Lenny, playoff Lenny, re-signing because Tom Brady decided to take less fucking money, and that's what I'm fucking talking about. Lombardi Lenny is back. Armstead to the Dolphins, and we thought that might have been it for the Dolphins in Miami, but no. And then we got Zadarius Smith going to the Packers. Then he's like, you know what? I'm going to go to the Ravens. Nah, never mind. I changed my mind. I'm going to go to the Vikings. And now you got a good rivalry with the Packers and Vikings. We see Malik Willis's pro day. We've seen that he looks phenomenal. He might go as high as number 2 to the Detroit Lions, but maybe number 6 to the Carolina Panthers or number 9 to the Seattle Seahawks. A little Freddie Freeman action. My dad's been a fan of the Dodgers since the 50s, so obviously I got to throw up a little Freddie Freeman. And then we're here today with Tyreek the Freak Hill. And your boy is going to give you the amazing stream that I always do every single day, every single night, grinding it out. Yo, boy. NWSF for life, baby. Let's go. Let's go. So, which is crazy. Yeah, Darius Leonard, Derek Brooks, really good friends. Of course, the game recognized game. Right. And like I said, I mean, back then it was like Derek Brooks played outside, so he wasn't really middle, but it was more like Urlacher and Ray Lewis. And I like both of those guys a lot too. I'm always a linebacker guy first. That's my favorite position in football, linebacker. So if it's outside, middle, a Mike, a Will, outside, a middle, whatever it is, but linebacker will always be my favorite. Probably safety is my second favorite. Sean C. I went to school at North Minneapolis High School with Tyler John. Okay. Admiring the Winfield Juniors, dad. Okay, yeah. And then Tyler, he obviously at Minnesota was very, very good. Broke a lot of Big Ten records. Just had a lot of drops in that Rams game, and sometimes he plays good. But I think it's a little bit of intimidation. It's like Mike Evans, Godwin, AB, Gronk, and then here's Tyler. He's just like, fuck, I was good in college, but I'm like surrounded by like Hall of Famers and GOATs. So it's like, I think it was a little bit too much for him, but hopefully he finds himself and finds his role. Him and Darden weren't really good enough in that Rams game, had a couple drops. It hurt a little bit, but I still root for Tyler Johnson. And obviously Antoine Winfield Jr. is a stud. If I didn't draft Antoine Winfield Jr. or Tristan Wirfs, there is no Super Bowl for me. That's big facts. Holly Hundo in the building. She's back. Haven't been able to be here much tonight, but hope us all as well. Gang. It is. We were sitting at a really low number. Again, we were at like $50 or less. We were at $5 after I think like an hour and a half. We were at like $5. And then all of a sudden the Chiefs Kingdom came in and started donating heavy. And we got some amazing donations. I can go back up here and I'll show you how it started. But it all started here. Check this out. So it all started right here around 8:02, which was about, 48 minutes ago. We weren't really at a big number, but Zachary Adams is a Chiefs fan. He came in. He said, I'm going to drop a 20. Then Chiefs says, I'll hop on the dono train. Then Zachary Adams again. He said, man, I appreciate all you do. I've been following you for about 2 years now. Keep up the good work. Here's another 50 for the kitty. Boop. Appreciate you. All right. Then Jake Paul gave me crabs with a hundo. Another Chiefs Kingdom member. Day of mourning here at the Tractor Factory. Beach better come through. He will. Then Jameis Ameza wanted to hop on the dono train, representing the Titans. Tien Jose wanted to represent for the Pats. I like that. And then Tien Jose again. He said, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep adding. I'm going to spend all my allowance. I'm going to do it. Chief with another 20. Tien Jose spending more allowance money. All right, doing a little bit more. I mean, maybe he doesn't get any, Lunchables for lunch, but it's all good. Sean C throwing a $5. And then now we're sitting at Holly Hundo with a 15. And then whatever we're at now. So we're at what, 350? We're at 350. When we were sitting at like 5 after like an hour and a half. Pretty good. You know what I mean? We can always count on the Chiefs Kingdom to step up. You know what I mean? And sometimes you're not going to have Nate the Great in the building. Sometimes you're not going to have Shep in the building. Sometimes you're not going to have Xavier Williams, in the building. Like, it's always going to be someone different. Sometimes it's the same people over and over, which is great. But it's awesome. And obviously the news was tough. But I think that, for the therapy session, I don't think it's as bad as it comes across. Yeah, it's Tyreek. Yeah, it was Davante Adams, right? Got to be sensitive to the fan bases that, really care deeply about, the team and the wins. But really what it comes down to is that no matter how much you love a player, right? We like the name in the front of the jersey, but the name on the back is always going to be about this. It's always going to be about the money at the end of the day. But again, like I was trying to tell people, Holly, you know what I mean? When Davante and Tyreek first came in, they weren't legitimate superstars year one. Tyreek was considered a bitch boy from who? Jalen Ramsey. So you're a bitch. He's like, you can't do nothing. You play special teams. You're not on my level, right? And then what did Tyreek? He took it personal. He's like, dude, I can play special teams. I can do punt returner, kick returner, but I'm fast. And I can run routes, and I'm going to work on it. And then he went from wide receiver 3, wide receiver 2, wide receiver 1, and then boom, he started going at the top of the routes and at the top of the high points for footballs. Good route running, great hands, great speed, and he turned into a top 2 wide receiver in the league with hard work. And Davante Adams put in a lot of work as well. So it shows you it's really awesome when you can get motivated by someone like that. Chiefs have inquired about a trade for Jaguars wide receiver Laviska Shenault. Now that would be good. Laviska is one of those guys that can play running back, wide receiver. You can put him at quarterback for like an RPO. Laviska is very versatile. That would be a good fit. I think Chris Olave would be the guy that I would be wanting for the Chiefs, either Chris Olave from Ohio State or Jameson Williams from Bama. But we got to wait and see. But I don't think it's going to be as bad as some of the Chiefs fans think it's going to be. Obviously, instead of winning the division now, Now you got to scale back and think maybe Denver wins. Or maybe the Chargers, the Raiders kind of surprise everyone, which could happen. But you're still going to make the dance. With the Packers, you still should probably be able to make the dance, but maybe the Vikings overtake you with Kevin O'Connell this year. It could happen. I could definitely see it, right? So I think the Chiefs are in a better position than the Packers, though, because they have more depth on their roster, even if they lose Honey Badger and even if they lost Tyreek. You know, you can still – Veach, I trust Veach. You guys are a well-run organization. For the Packers, they're not well-run as much as, obviously – Kansas City or some of the others, because they don't have an owner. It's like you're basing everything off the owners, Gutekunst, obviously, and LaFleur, and the people and the board. I don't like that at all. That's one thing that would irk me as a Packer fan, of not actually having one single owner. But maybe that's the reason why they only have that one championship with Aaron in all these years. They have a lot of things that they need to go over, but I don't like the idea of just having like Gutekunst go to the board and say, this is what we're doing, and then they just go, okay. You know what I mean? I don't like that at all. But I mean, if that's the way they want to run their organization, being bought by the people, and the people own the team, that's fine. It's very unique and very cool. But in the long run, I don't think it's going to be good for them winning Super Bowls. Okay. Well, I'm sorry you're going through some family stuff, and obviously the news with Tyreek isn't ideal. But I'm here. If you guys need anything, I'm always here. Yeah, Laviska Shenault would be nice. I mean, you're not going to ever get anyone that's going to replace that speed, but I think you are going to get someone that can replace the receptions, the touchdowns, the yards. You're going to get someone a little bit lower than Tyreek, but you have Juju, you have McCole Hardman, or you still have Travis Kelce, so it's not like you lost him. Obviously, losing Travis Kelce to me would be more detrimental than losing Tyreek. For what Travis does for you. Travis is one of those guys that's irreplaceable. For me, you know what I mean? He's the number one tight end in the league. Tyreek has got, top 2, top 3, and he's obviously the fastest, but I would take Travis Kelce's reliability factor game in and game out over Tyreek every 1 to 2 or 3 games. So. JT got the mustard on the sandwich. Yeah, we all hope that things get a little bit better. And like I said, if you need a message, we're always here for you. Yeah, but if you watch Laviska Shenault, I mean, that's a good thing about me too, because I watch so much film. Like even those lower name guys, and I do fantasy football, people pay me money to draft their teams, and I'm always following all the teams. And it can be a headache sometimes. You know what I mean? Think about it. It's like I put in so much passion on my Bucks, just like you guys do for your Chiefs or your Titans or the Colts or whatever your team is. Imagine putting in that kind of dedication for the Lions or the Jags or the Jets. Nobody does that. I do, though. You know what I mean? Because I want to be able to know what's going on. I like evaluating the rookies, the veterans, the tape. I want to be able to, make predictions and have them come true. And a big part of me being able to get so many Super Bowl winners right and get so many predictions right is all the hard work that I put in. And I think a lot of people, they can watch a game on TV and can call a game, but what about the stuff behind the scenes with the reading and the stats and the film study and doing all the above and beyond stuff that you guys don't see me doing? I think that's really what separates me from anyone else that's on YouTube, and that's facts. I think you were mentioning that to me earlier. I bet. Sometimes you have to console, agree, and just, and I get it. You know what I mean? And so, especially with also you and me, we both have gone through anxiety and depression of our own, and not necessarily from what he has, given you or brought to you, because I know it can be definitely draining. You want to be a good person. You want to listen. You want to be there. And obviously, if he feels that he can't go to anyone else, you have to feel that obligation, because if you don't do it, then things are going to get worse. So shout out to you for, being a big person. And even though it might sacrifice a little bit of your happiness or what you got going on in your mood, sometimes, doing the good thing and going out of your way to try to comfort someone, even though it's going to make you maybe not in the greatest mood after, it's just being a good person and doing the right thing. You know what I mean? And that's a huge thing for you. I mean, you're always one of those people that always thinks about other people before yourself, like myself. That's big. You know what I mean? And like I said, sometimes getting a cat or getting a dog or, getting something like that can help you out. Fitty for the kitty, it's not Tom Grossi. I don't got an animal, a stuffed animal that I can boop. But, fitty for the kitty, sometimes you got to have those animals, to brighten your day. And I'll tell you what, we help save sports life. You know what I mean? That was a big thing. We raised $1,525 out of $3,800 for a surgery, and we only had about 3 or 4 days to do it, and we came through and we did it. You know, Holly Hundo did, Cyberpunk. I did 1,000 of my own money. You know what I mean? And then obviously with my depression and everything I've been going through, today's National Dog Day. All right, on NFL Network and in general, Petco. If you end up seeing things on the internet for pets like dogs, it was a National Doggo Day today, and that's Paisley as a baby, and then Paisley now, and she's playing catch in the hallway here with the girlfriend running around with her head cut off. And I mean, I can't imagine my life without her. She shows so much love. Like, you know, no matter if I go to the bathroom to shave or if I'm getting food or if I'm taking her for a walk, and I've been going on walks with her almost every day. I would say 5 days a week, sometimes 6. Once in a while, if I get too, you know, hammered or if I'm just too, you know, hungover, sometimes I miss it and I have to wait till the next day. But, you know, having something like this in your life can change your life. And I feel that once I had that inserted in my life, you know, and having you guys too, and just trying to be able to be positive every day. And it's a mindset. You know, it's about you are who you surround yourself around. And if you surround yourself around good people, better things will happen in your life. And you just have to do the right thing at the right time. And, you know, we do it here. We do it here. 34-33. Cardinals beat the Vikings. I got to see the ending right here. Did they kick a field goal or did it get blocked? What happened here? Maybe Minnesota went for a field goal and missed. What happened here? Minnesota's 0-2. Yeah, Minnesota's going for the field goal, and they kick it, and it's wide right, and then the Cardinals win. I remember that game. Kelsey Mahomes is much stronger. Yes, I agree. Give back what you stole now. What to do? He said, we know what great tight ends are, but what are they when I can defensively key in on them and not worry about someone taking the lid off my defense every play? This trade is a horrible mistake. Well, the thing is, if he already lived in Miami in the offseason and they couldn't afford to pay him the money, obviously if you have Drew Rosenhaus as your agent, all right, you already know that he's going to try to get the maximum amount of money. And if he didn't re-sign it, the writing was already on the wall last year. So it's not like they wanted to. If they had the money, they would have paid Tyreek and he would have stayed. So, and obviously for me, I think Travis Kelce to me is more valuable. Yeah, you get the speed out of Tyreek and he can blow the lid off the defense. I get it, right? But is it worth the money that you're going to have to pay or the headaches of keeping someone that's disgruntled? You know, with Travis Kelce, he's the best tight end in the game. With Tyreek, he's what, top 2? Devontae Adams, Tyreek, but Cooper Kupp was the best wide receiver in the league this year. So obviously speed kills. We know that. But if I have a choice and I'm evaluating football and I've been watching football since 85, I'd rather have the best tight end in the game in Travis Kelce than have Tyreek the freak hill. That's just my personal opinion. You know, that's that good check down guy. It's just like Brady and Gronk. If Brady didn't have Gronk, you're not winning those Super Bowls. You know, you got to be able to have that check down guy. And the thing about Travis Kelce is he plays like a wide receiver at the tight end position. And with Tyreek, he's got the speed, no doubt, and he makes those big plays. I get it. But if you don't want to be there and you want more money and it's all about money, not necessarily winning championships, what are you going to do? Keep someone there that, you know, doesn't want to be there? So, I mean, everyone's got an opinion, and I get you. Give back what you stole now. But I would go Kelce personally. Because a lot of times if you have a great tight end, you know what I mean, it helps you win the Super Bowl. Obviously, Tyler Higbee, you know, is maybe a top 15 tight end, but he got hurt. OBJ got hurt in that second half. And obviously, Higbee didn't even play in the Super Bowl, and they still won without him because they had Cooper Kupp, no Robert Woods, but Cooper Kupp and OBJ were fucking unstoppable. That's just the bottom line. And Stafford was in the rhythm. Defense was good with Von Miller and Aaron Donald. Not every team is built the same way, and that's facts. Yeah. Well, shout out to you, man. It takes a lot of courage and a lot of effort to be able to be that person, to be able to do it. And like 4 years, 120 million, it's a lot of money. 30 million a year, that's crazy. And to get 5 picks in return, that's crazy too. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, with these picks in the late first round, if you get like a Chris Olave or Jamison Williams, that's going to soften the blow. Or maybe DK Metcalf might be available, or Tyler Lockett. And if you get someone like that, it's going to help soften the blow a little bit too. We got you, man. We always got you. Always and forever. Let me take a look. I don't think we do. Chief will Chief just with a dono. I don't know if that was from earlier or not, but I just got it to come up on the screen. I think it was just right now. Chief will Chief with a tenor. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you. All right, no problem. I don't know how much longer I'm going to be on the stream. I've already been on for 3 hours, so I'll probably be on for a little bit longer. So if I'm not here, have a great rest of your night. I'll be back tomorrow, and we might have a record-breaking stream tomorrow. We'll have to wait and see. Chief will Chief with a tenor. Thank you, brother. See, I'm like 4 minutes behind the live stream right now, but your sports knowledge is another reason you're a GOAT. Appreciate that. And I think my sports knowledge, I mean, there's a lot of people out there that have the charisma, that have the work ethic like Tom Grossi, you know what I mean? Or people like, Sports Fury that always do the NBA and they're always grinding and whatnot, right? But as far as like football knowledge where I'm not looking at notes and everything is freestyle off the top of my head with all the reading and the research, I don't think anyone can match up. And some people can be like, oh, this guy thinks he's like the best in the world. But I do think I am one of the best. Like, you know what I mean? If fucking Peter Schrager's stealing from me on Good Morning Football and Madden is stealing from me and I'm not even famous yet and I'm not even at 20K yet, like, obviously they're looking to me because they know they have that respect. They want to steal from me. You know what I mean? But I appreciate that. I put in a lot of effort and a lot of work. And I don't think anyone is on my level on that. I mean, I can go. I feel like I can go on TV or podcasting tomorrow, and I wouldn't be intimidated. But a lot of other people, if you gave them the opportunity, they would probably freeze up. Like, oh my God, I'm on Skip and Shannon, or oh my God, I'm on Pat McAfee show. You know what I mean? But with me, like I've already been doing my own host of my own show, and I've been doing this for 10 years. So this is not like something new to me. And prior to that, I've been doing phone sales for like 20. So it's not like I'm uncomfortable on the mic or on the phone. So that's facts. Appreciate that. Chief will Chief with a tenor. Bang! Chief will Chief with a tenor. Bang, 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 bang. Appreciate you, brother. So we had what, $100 from Cyberpunk 53 on the Cash App. Eagles John with a tenor. And then Chief will Chief with a tenor there as well. Thank you so much, brother. And then a lot of donos on the super chat side too. Thank you guys. Yeah, it's National Dog Day. Yeah, and like I said, I didn't even know it was until like I think it was the NFL Network posted something, and I posted a picture of Paisley on there. Normally, I don't do that. Like on the internet, I'm like, I'm normally not gonna, do that on that type of, thing with other dogs or whatever. But I was like, yeah, fuck it. It's National Doggo Day. Why not? Why not? $50 away from $400. Let's do it, baby. With 10 people in the room, and the work ethic is a big part of it. I think that's why people also respect. You know what I mean? A lot of people are not willing to put in the time for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours, let alone doing that almost every day. And a lot of times there's not even a game on. So it's like I'm off freestyling. I have to come up with ideas of the show. I got to do the HD pictures. I got to be able to keep things moving. And some people can host the show. Some people can't. But I got great fans in the room, and you guys are the best fans on planet Earth. I wouldn't want any other fans than you guys. Dalvin Cook, yeah. Now they're talking. Now they're just talking NFL Total Access. Now they're just talking. It's Tyreek Hill getting the money, getting the bag, securing the bag. Sad, man. It's like, especially when you have like these big time players, sometimes you just feel that these guys are going to be there forever, and then you just feel like you got the rug ripped underneath you. Like Devontae gone, like no way. Like Tyreek, like the top 2 wide receivers gone, and I think right now Cooper Kupp is making like 14 to 15 million. That's a bargain. I mean, Cooper is the best wide receiver today based off the season that he had. That was the best regular season and postseason run out of any wide receiver I've ever seen of all time. And it's like he was doing things that Jerry Rice had to do accumulated in a career, which he did in one season. Cooper Kupp. Pretty crazy. Chief will Chief with a tenor. I appreciate you, brother. Matt Payton from Hawaii. What to do, brother? How are you? Yeah. The animals help out a lot, and I think that's a big reason why I wanted to help out sport, because normally I'm not going to give away $1,000 of my hard-earned money. Are you kidding me? I work really hard to get donos. I work really hard for everything that I do, but after having Paisley and thinking that this dog is going to die, they had the GoFundMe, had $300 in there. I think they had about 1,500 or 2,000 saved up because they sold all their shit that they could sell to be able to make the surgery happen. And if you're willing to spend that much money for your dog, obviously, it's family. The money is a lot, right? But it's family. So obviously the, importance that I felt, with the impact of Paisley in my life, you know what I mean? And what she is now, I was like, you know what? I got to do it. So I donated first to 500 and then I did another 500. And then we had Holly do 135 and then Cyberpunk did 500 about a night before. And we came through and, he's eating now, Sport is eating now a little bit, still fucked up on drugs and, just not 100% just yet. But it just makes me feel so good that even though it cost a lot of money, that we did something that most people would just turn their head and be like, no, I'm not helping. You know what I mean? There was a lot of people in my friend group here in Oregon that could have donated even $1, didn't do it. Maybe $5, $10, every dollar counts, just like in the donations here. Some people do it, some people don't, you know what I mean? But there was a lot of people that just scrolled through and just was like, nah, I'm not going to do it. You know what I mean? So when I do something like 1,000, they were like, whoa, you know what I mean? It's not like I'm a rich guy or anything like that. I mean, I still have rent and shit that I have to pay for. And I'm not doing second jobs or third jobs anymore. I'm full-time on YouTube, but I felt, I'm blessed at this point where I'm doing this full-time now. Then if I can get big donations, that, hey, it's money in my bank account sitting there doing nothing, right? Or we can use it for a good cause. And I'm really happy that we were able to come through. And Cyberpunk 53 is one of those like really special people like Holly Hundo and myself and a lot of the other goats that we have in this room that will think about other people other than themselves. And it just made me feel really good that we came together and we helped save a dog's life. And it's not only just a dog's life, it was a family member to them. So it really made me feel very, very good. That's facts. It's raining in Hawaii. Oh, my. That's the first time I've heard that from you in a while. Is Jimmy Garoppolo an upgrade over Daniel Jones is the question on NFL Total Access. Daniel Jones sucks. God, he sucks. Is Jimmy an upgrade? God, I don't know. Yeah, Jimmy's an upgrade over Daniel Jones. Is Jimmy an upgrade over Tua? I don't know, because I think if Tua is healthy and he has all these weapons and then the offensive line is better, maybe Tua could be a top 15 quarterback. Maybe it's like Carr, and then it ends up being, Carr, Kirk Cousins, Tannehill, and then Tua, Baker, like around 14, 15, 16, 17, like somewhere in there. Tua could be like in the middle, like 16 out of 32. But like Daniel Jones is like 20 to 32. And what is Jimmy? Is Jimmy, what does Jimmy rank? 16 to 20? Somewhere in there. Sometimes he can be like 14, 15, but normally 16 to 22 maybe. So that's a tough question that they're throwing out here on Total Access right now. But I think as of right now, from what we've seen in the past, Jimmy is an upgrade over Tua. But with these new weapons, I think you'd want to stick with Tua, and you wouldn't want to go for an injury-prone Jimmy Garoppolo that obviously, I mean, if you're going to give up on Tua, you can get someone better than Jimmy next year in the draft or a free agent. Like, try to go after a Tannehill or a Cousins, Carr-ish kind of player or get a rookie. But I don't think I would want Jimmy over Tua. Cyberpunk. Appreciate you, man. Cynthia Freeland. She's the stats magician. She's like kind of like the Peter Schrager female version, but at least I have respect for her because she doesn't steal my material. She's all about analytics and numbers and stats. I'm always about that life too. But I don't know if I would want Jimmy over there in Miami, though. All right, it's 3 hours and 12 minutes. So I think we should go for another 18 minutes. So we'll go until 3 hours and 30 minutes. So we're going to go until 9:30 my time, which will be 11:30 your time or 12:30. So let's go for Let's go for another 18 minutes or so. So 17 minutes. Let's go for 17 more minutes. And whatever we end at, if we get $40 more and we hit 400, great. If we don't, we ended up exceeding the expectations. I mean, shit, we were at $5 after like an hour and a half. And then we ended up, picking it up. And shout out to all the goats that definitely, helped me out. All the Chiefs Kingdom fans, even with this rough, tumultuous day with a lot of grief, a lot of anger, a lot of depression, a lot of sadness. But obviously it's a little bit of I'm here for therapy for you guys. You know what I mean? And like I said, I had to be able to point out certain things like, with hybrid, being a Ravens fan and being a young kid, and saying, oh, it looks like these guys are in suicide watch. That was the first comment on the chat. And it was like 10 minutes before I even started the chat. I had to point that out because I get sick and tired of seeing these young kids or even the older kids or older men or women that are just fucking just haters. You know what I mean? Like they don't want to claim that they're a hater. You know what I mean? Because it doesn't sound too appealing when you get called out as one. You know what I mean? But when you're trying to be like, okay, you say that you're joking, but you actually are happy that Tyreek isn't there, and you don't give a shit about the Chiefs' feelings, the fans and how they feel, or Devontae Adams or the Packers. Like sometimes that shit needs to be pointed out because the thing is, karma is real. And if you end up having that mindset, like I told them, 5-6 years from now, if Lamar can't come to an agreement with money and Lamar leaves and goes to another team or Mark Andrews, then all that shit talking you were doing for Tyreek and Devontae, it's going to come back and haunt you. So it's always good to be have a little bit more sympathy and be a little bit more empathetic and have some empathy when you guys lose your big guys, or not to talk shit about a guy like Carson Wentz, like the Washington, Commandos and the Cowboys and the Giants, because all of them talk shit about Carson when he was on the Eagles, and then 6, 8, 9 years later, boom, Carson Wentz to the Washington Commandos. I mean, they probably would have never thought in their wildest dreams a guy that they talk shit about daily would end up being their quarterback. But the same shit happened with Donovan McNabb. Fuck this guy, fuck this guy, fuck this guy. And then boom, like 8 to 10 years later, the quarterback for the Washington Redskins, Donovan McNabb. And they're like, that's what happens. Karma is fucking real. Cyberpunk, the draft is very interesting this year. I'm rooting for you guys. And if you guys can hit on home runs like Creed Humphrey on the center and Nick Bolton at linebacker, I have 100% confidence that you guys will not overpay for like a Julio or a Landry or anyone else that's kind of floating around. OBJ for 1-year deal. You can end up getting a good wide receiver at the end of the first round. And it might be an Olave or someone that can be an impactful guy. And who knows? DK Metcalf still might get traded. Tyler Lockett might get traded. So in a couple days, who knows? As early as tomorrow, DK Metcalf might be on the Chiefs. And if that happens, who gives a shit if you lost Tyreek or not? You know what I mean? And even if you give up one of your draft picks or a couple draft picks for a guy like that, you can count on a guy like DK. Can you imagine DK Metcalf on the Chiefs? Like, he would become a fan favorite, and that would definitely help you in the red zone. You're not going to get the speed per se of a tiny guy, but for a big physical guy, you're going to get the speed. And then, like I said, you already got Juju there. McCole Hardman will be able to step up his game. Kelsey's still there, and that's the guy that you really want to make sure that's still there. But yeah, I'm very interested to see what you guys do. You guys still need some secondary help. I want to see some pass rushing. You can always build on that O-line as well. But I still think the Chiefs are still one of the top 4 teams in the AFC, except instead of being number 1, now you got to be probably number 4. But as long as you're in the dance, it's not going to matter. You still got the Bills, you got the Broncos, all right? You got the Bengals looking like they might be pretty good still, and then you got the Chiefs, and then we still got to see what the Raiders, the Chargers, obviously as the Patriots and the Ravens and the Colts and the Titans. There's going to be many, many, many good teams, about 8 or 9 that'll be Super Bowl contenders in the AFC, and probably 2 in the NFC, Rams and Bucks, with maybe the Niners and Packers right behind them. So a lot can change in a matter of 24 hours. That's facts. Ark Omen, he said, hooray, now the Bills are better than the Chiefs. Not necessarily. Well, the season hasn't started yet. You know what I mean? Because if you end up getting DK Metcalf, how much of a drop-off is that from Tyreek? You know what I mean? Touchdown-wise, yards-wise, impact-wise, there's not that. I mean, you're not going to really worry about losing Tyreek if you end up getting, Tyler Lockett or DK. It's not going to be like, oh, my God, we're fucked. You know what I mean? Like, you can still win the AFC, with their roster, but you need to be able to add. It can't just be Juju and McCole Hardman and Kelsey. You need a couple pieces, like maybe even 2 guys, like 2 rookies, Olave and Jameson Williams, to give you stats that Tyreek might have given you. So, yeah, I still think they're going to make the playoffs as well. Yeah, I'm excited to see what kind of a player that they're going to end up getting, and then their compensation was going to be really shitty too. It wasn't going to be very good. I had it on the I had it here on my thing here. Let me check it out, and I'll go over the compensation here real quick. We'll just do a quick recap of the show. All right, so let's go through here real quick. All right, so obviously today, Tyreek the free kill. We have the big trade. So the Kansas City Chiefs, all right, are trading to the Miami Dolphins for 5 draft picks. All right, a 2022 first-round pick, number 29, second-round pick, number 50, a fourth-round pick this year, and then next year, a fourth and a sixth in the 2023 draft. Okay, so that's a lot of compensation right there for Tyreek the free kill. Now, if they would have went with the Jets, it would have been considerably worse, all right? If they would have went to the Jets, this is what it would have been. Let me scroll down here. I have to find it. All right, so the Jets' compensation would have been the Chiefs would have gotten picks number 35, 38, so really high in the second round, and pick 69. And then the Jets would have gotten Hill and number 103. So they would have only gotten 3 picks, like 2 second-rounders and like a third-rounder? Right? I believe 69 would have been what? So 32, 64, yeah. So you would have gotten 2 high second-round picks and a high third-round pick. That would have been good enough. And then the Jets still would have picked and kept their pick 4 through 10. Teams without a 2022 first-round pick: Bears, Broncos, Browns, Dolphins, Colts, Raiders, Niners, Rams. Okay? Teams with multiple 2022 first-round picks: Lions, pick 2 and 32. Texans, 3 and 13. Jets, 4 and 10. Giants, 5 and 7. Eagles, 15, 16, 19. Packers, 22 and 28. Chiefs, 29 and 30. So you can get something pretty good at 29 and 30 if you're the Chiefs, okay? But a pretty wild scenario with that. Let's see. What did DK Metcalf just tweet? I saw something. What was that? What was that? I saw something and then I went off of it. Probably something related to Seattle. Probably nothing to do with him and what's happening. I can't find it. I fucking went past it. But Tyreek the free kill, obviously one of those impact guys. Very crazy to think that he would get traded for 5 picks, but this is our reality now. He is a Miami Dolphin, fins up. Tyreek is going to be able to, do the jet sweeps. He's going to do the screens, the bubble screens, the reverses. It's not going to be the same kind of quarterback that you had with Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is going to miss the speed. Tyreek is going to miss the arm of Mahomes. That's facts. So we'll see on what happens, but I really am confident about Veach. Okay? I'm really confident about Veach. And if you're a Chief fan, you should be too. Like if I say that, and even though I'm not a Chief guy, you know what I mean? But I follow them like I am. You know what I mean? Like this guy knows what he's doing. So, and obviously if you don't want to pay $30 million a year and it's going to hurt the rest of the team, you already hurt the rest of the team by giving Mahomes that insane deal. Mahomes should have known better. You know what I mean? But when you're the man and you're the best player in the league and you think you're going to win Super Bowls left and right like Brady, he wants to get paid. But if he would have took less money to get more players there, it could have benefited him. But at that time, Mahomes was the man. So I get it. But it maybe in the future now, once the contract, gets further along, maybe he can restructure it, take less money. So that way he realizes if they don't win a Super Bowl, let's say in the next 5 years, and it's the Broncos, the Bills, the Rams, the Buccaneers, and the Chiefs don't win, he's going to think to himself, I fucked up. I should have took less money. Maybe Tyreek would have stayed. Maybe I could have got more people to stay. And you're going to do the Tom Brady thing and maybe take less money after that. But like I said, hopefully the Chiefs end up winning a Super Bowl in the next 5 years. I could see the Rams winning it next year, the Buccaneers. I could see the Bills. Niners are on the cusp. There's a lot of teams that are like right there. NFL is wild. You just never know what's going to happen, but I really, really like Veach a lot. Bradbury and Gilmore. God, that would be insane. Because everyone's already given up on Gilmore. He was like the best corner in the league. Now no one even gives a shit about him. Like he just got a little bit hurt, and now everyone's like he's trash. Like it's just crazy the perception of someone that could be so good, and now Jalen Ramsey's the man, and Gilmore's like a dog shit. Like I hope you guys pick up one or both. From CJ Stroud, a Heisman Trophy finalist from a season ago, the current starter with the Buckeyes. So as you can imagine, here we go. NFL lowlights, just like hybrid, a hater. You know what I mean? It's so easy to point out the haters in the stream. You know what I mean? Because they always say immature comments all the time. You're a Saints fan, right? And that's what a Saint fan would say. L friend, Tyreek, L teammate. You know what I mean? If you want to talk about real L's, let's talk about your Saint fan base. the worst fan base in sports. You want to talk about that? That's the type of comments that are easily noticed and picked out. Come on, NFL lowlights. Typical comment from a typical Saints fan that's a typical hater. What's new? Come on, NFL. You make it too easy for me to pick on you, NFL lowlights, or any Saint fan that's a hater. You make it too easy. You make it too easy, brother. Yeah, but again, if you have Drew Rosenhaus as your guy, you know what I mean? Like, you're going to leave. You're going to get the money. It's $30 million a year. All right, but Drake London, Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, a lot of these guys, I mean, it's going to be crazy, man. So they say Drake London, Cynthia Freeland, since Drake London to Washington. Shit, if Drake London goes to Washington, whew, with already what they have with Scary Terry McLaurin, on top of that, Antonio Gibson, I mean, if they get a guy like that, they might win the division. I don't think anyone's really talking about Washington winning the division, but you know what? There's a chance that they win the division. You know, if you're actually looking at teams and what they could actually achieve, I mean, anything is possible. I mean, we already know the Rams are going to win the division. Buccaneers are going to win the division. But the kind of the sleeper ones are maybe the Vikings win the division over the Packers in the North, and maybe the Commandos win the NFC East, even though we think that the Eagles might do something, and maybe the Cowboys, we'll see what they can do. But I'm not really big on Carson Wentz, all right? But I think it's possible that Washington could. That's a big could. You know what I mean? I'm always going to give you a different type of take that most people aren't talking about. I do like the Saints. But obviously a lot of the Saint fan base, obviously is so biased and very, very much drinking the haterade. I mean, my favorite running back in the league is AK-41. All right. And I like Cameron Jordan. I like Lattimore. I like Ryan Ramczyk. Right. So if I'm such a hater and I hate the Saints, then why do I like all their players? And they play hard for each other. They play with passion. You know what I mean? They're the rival, but I respect them more than they respect me. And Saints fans respect me because at least I give them credit for their players that are good. But in general, most teams that have a rival, they don't give a fuck about that rival. And most Saints fans give a shit, 2 shits less for Bucks, Panthers, or Falcons. But I like all the teams in the NFL, all 32. If you have talent on your team and you have greatness on your team, you're right, I'm going to be able to show some love. All right. But if you got a fan base that obviously repeatedly over and over shoots themselves in the mouth, right, and shoots themselves in the leg, right, a little Plaxico Burress, right, shoots themselves in the foot and the leg, and likes to spout off and always worry about the pass and can't move on and can't move forward and always blames Goodell and the league is rigged and all this other bullshit. No one wants to hear that. That's all I got to say. Don't you think free agency moves that Buffalo made the Bills the favorite to win the Super Bowl? Definitely one of the top teams, for sure. I would put the Bills at the top with the Denver Broncos, and then we'll see what the Bengals do with this new O-line and the Chiefs. But I think that right now, for me, the Bills and the Broncos look like the best. And we haven't seen what Russ can do yet, but I'm just imagining Russell Wilson with an offensive-minded coach for the very first time in his career. I could definitely see them winning the division. And also you could have a sleeper team like the Chargers, do something like the Bengals did this year with Herbert. But as of now, I got to say my top 4 are going to be the Bills and the Broncos in the AFC and the Rams and the Bucks in the NFC. Those are my top 4. Elliot. Saints fans have it in their blood, except for a couple. It's just how it is. Saints fans have so much negativity that I had to ban them from the channel because they're toxic. Some Saints fans are toxic as fuck. Ask Elliot. Elliot's a fucking Saints fan, and he doesn't even want to go into Saints fucking Instagrams or chat rooms because there's so many toxic people that even the Saints fans have to call out the Saints fans. That's not normal behavior. When you're a fan of a team and you have to call out your other fans of the team because they're toxic. That's not a good trait to have. Just saying. Don't get all defensive, NFL lowlights. Yeah, wide receivers, tight ends, and obviously Matt Ryan's a Band-Aid for a year, 2 years, 3 years. There's still going to be some time that it's going to take for them to get comfortable, but I'm excited to see where they go. And like I said, for me, I like to give respect and love, and a lot of the Saints fans love me and respect me because I actually do show love for their players. But deep down, I know that the Saints fans hate the Buccaneers and they fucking hate the Falcons and they hate, the Panthers. That's just how it is. You know what I mean? Just like, obviously like the Niners and the Seahawks and a lot of the rivalries, the Broncos and the Chiefs and the Raiders, they hate each other. I get it. You know what I mean? But for me, I like to at least, show a little bit of love and shine a little light on the positive side of things. But when the fan bases are bad or toxic, I'm not trying to be a dick. I'm just pointing out the facts. I've had to delete and I've had to fucking ban a lot of people because it's just too much for me. My mental health is important. You know what I mean? I don't want to have to deal with that bullshit. So. Sean C, baby. So who are your teams, Sean C? Like who are your teams? So obviously you like the Minnesota Vikings, obviously Minneapolis Miracle. You love them. All right. I got you, man. I got bang, $10. Therapy all day, every day. I'm always here, dude. You know what I mean? And like I said, you're gonna get an open perspective because I'm not a Chiefs fan. You know what I mean? But I'm gonna give you the realness. I'm gonna call it right down the middle. Some people will agree with me. Some people won't agree with me, but I try to call it down the middle as much as possible. And I'm going to give you things that I'm going to say that people are afraid to say on TV and podcasting. I speak the truth. I speak a lot of shit that people are afraid to say. And, I don't think I have a lot of quote unquote hot takes. I just kind of, do the knowledge, do the research, do the film study, do the reading, and then I come up with my own conclusions. I don't just tell, like if someone says something on Good Morning Football, I'm not going to just say, okay, Kay Adams said this, so I'm going to say this on my show. I don't work like that. I don't operate like that, especially when Peter Schrager is stealing my fucking material on a daily basis. Appreciate that, dude. $10, Chief with Chief, baby. What are we at, 370? 30 to go to 400. Oh, of course it does. That was insane. You know what I mean? But also, too, what was more insane is after the Minneapolis Miracle, they did get screwed by the refs with the Rams. But with sports karma, Rams didn't win the Super Bowl because that's sports karma for you, right? And then the following year, he lost to the Vikings again. There was a little bit of a push-off with Kyle the Red Zone Rudolph, but the excuses that I hear of, the league is rigged, Roger Goodell, how about you get enough of a fucking lead where you don't have to be that close for the Vikings to steal it away from you? How about you put the gas on the pedal and you put the foot to the metal to the pedal and you just go for it and you end up having a big enough lead where you don't have to have any controversy. You know what I mean? You let teams hang around. And a lot of times I don't think they wanted to give Sean Payton enough of the criticism where Sean Payton is a Hall of Fame coach, but sometimes he fucked up. But do you ever hear any Saints fan admitting, yeah, Sean Payton fucked up? Never. It's always Roger Goodell, the referees, the league is rigged. It's like never taking accountability when they fucked up. They made a bad play call. They didn't execute. Something happened. It's always pointing the finger at someone else, and that shit gets annoying as hell. And that's why, in general, even though people don't like the Patriots and people don't like the Cowboys, people don't like the Saints for that one specific reason. It's like that crybaby fucking mentality. And it's not other fans from just the NFC South. Anyone that plays the Saints, if it doesn't go their way, yes, they've been cheated before. That Rams fucking game and the NFC Championship game was probably the craziest no call, the biggest bullshit I've ever seen in my entire life. They have that. I will give them that. Because if that would have happened to me, I would have been livid. Okay? But they definitely get picked on, kind of like a Rasheed Wallace thing, where even when you're not doing something wrong, he's getting teed up because of the reputation, I think, of the players, the fans, and their attitude and the fan base. And instead of moving forward, it's always looking in the past. Oh, this, Roger Goodell, cheating, you know what I mean? And a lot of other fan bases, they don't want to hear it. You know what I mean? They don't have any sympathy for that fan base whatsoever. Besides maybe that NFC Championship game with the Rams, I'll definitely give them sympathy for that because that was some bullshit right there. I mean, they needed to do some kind of investigation with those refs if they were in on some kind of betting pool or something there to be able to get the Saints eliminated. But all in all, the Rams didn't win the Super Bowl based off that. So it's not like they got robbed completely. And even if they did go to the Super Bowl, you probably would have lost the Patriots and Tom Brady anyways. But at least the Rams didn't complete it and win it then. Then, there would have been this huge uproar or whatever if the Rams would have won. But they didn't even win the Super Bowl. And that's sports karma for you, right? Okay. Well, I'm gonna hop off right now. Girlfriend's getting a little bit tired and whatnot, so I'm gonna hop off online. I'm gonna try to eat some dinner. Shout out to everybody in the room. We hit 370 in donos. Love you guys, and I appreciate you guys very, very much. Appreciate you guys. You guys are the best fans on planet Earth. I will be back. Bro, did you know that YouTube sends your notification 3 years after it's been sent? Yeah, no shit. I get people that get it like 2 weeks later because YouTube don't give a shit about me. But guess what? With 12 people in the room, I can still make almost $400 in a night and have great fans and great conversation. So as much as they want to keep hating on me, I'm not going to quit. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep moving forward. I'm going to keep putting on a good show. And I got the best fans on planet Earth, the Fanatic family. All right. There we go. My boy coming through in the clutch. Bang! $30 from my boy, Cyberpunk 53, because he always comes through in the clutch. Let's go. $30 from Cyberpunk. We hit 400, y'all. Let's go. Thank you, Cyber. Cyberpunk, baby. Cyber always comes through in the clutch at the very end. Let's go, baby. Boom, 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 boom. Let's go. Cyberpunk 53. We hit 400, y'all. Cyber always is clutch, huh? Thank you so much, brother. $400 in donos with 12 people in the room. We had less than 20 all day. Great show. Felt good. It felt good. Here we go. Derek Tyler, Saint fan coming in. Chiefs are in trouble. What's new? What's new? Love you guys. I appreciate you guys. I'll be back tomorrow. Usually we have a record-breaking day on Thursdays. I'll be online somewhere between 6 p.m. and 7 p.m. Pacific time. We had $400 in donos. We were at $5 after like an hour and a half. So this is huge. I love you guys, and I appreciate you guys very, very much. I got one question for you. Who you know talk sports like us? Your boy Ryan, Northwest Sports Fanatics. Cyberpunk is always the fucking GOAT. I love you, and I appreciate you very much. We hit 400. Thank you to everyone that donated, that had the conversations. Chief Will Chief, everyone in the room. Let me quickly just go over some of the Cash App in here really quickly. Cyberpunk 53 with a hundo, Eagles John with a tenner, Chief Gone Chief with a tenner, Cyberpunk 53 with a 30 right there at the buzzer, and a lot of other people that donated on the channel in the super chat. I love you guys and I appreciate you guys very, very much. And like I said, I'll be back tomorrow. Love you guys. Appreciate you guys. I'll be back probably around 6 p.m., 7 p.m. tomorrow on Thursday, and hopefully we get another big signing or a big trade, I'm hoping. I got one question for you. Who you know talk sports like us? Your boy Ryan, Northwest Sports Fanatics, and I'm out. Gang!